This entire military is one cohesive, dedicated force. And the threats to our nations, they don't sleep. They're watching our every move. Iran, Russia, China, North Korea, ISIS, Al-Qaeda. They may be watching this right now. Our military should not be mistaken for a cable news gabfest show. We don't care what you look like. We don't care who you voted for, who you worship, what you worship, who you love. It doesn't matter if your dad left you millions when he died or if you knew who your father was. We have been honed into a machine of lethal moving parts that you would be wise to avoid if you know what's good for you. We will not be intimidated. We will not back down. We've seen war. We don't want war. But if you want war with the United States of America, there's one thing I can promise you, so help me God. Someone else will raise your sons and daughters.
I want to make it clear that the views expressed by our hosts are not considered the official stance of MBR Views. Remember, this is all about having fun and enjoying the ride.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Welcome back to the Battle Rhythm Podcast. My name is Caesar. I am glad you're here with us on a Tuesday night. I know it was a great day today. I believe it was like 78 degrees, 80 degrees when I got out of work. And let me tell you, I was regretting. The one thing I was regretting, it was not riding my bike this morning because, well, it was like 40 degrees by the time I left the house. And this is at 4 in the morning. So by the time I got out at 3 o'clock, I was like regretting my decision of not riding my bike today. So without further ado, we have a great show today. I've been looking forward to this show for the last, I don't know, month or so. When I set it up, I was trying to get everybody to be involved into this, especially because the Department of Texas is going to go through. It's going through every year, selecting a brand new junior vice commander, and then we have three of the four candidates are going to be joining us today. And we're going to be asking them questions. So when I open up the phone lines, I expect you guys to call in and ask them whatever you want to ask them, how they're going to, where they're going to move forward with the organization and how they plan to do that. So we're going to be setting that up today. But first, I want to welcome my first guest. This guy is no stranger to the Battle Rhythm Podcast because he's always here. It seems like, may as well just get a new show. And this guy, he's on the pro tour right now with the Bassmasters, and he's going to tell us a couple of things that he's been doing in the last month. And from what I understand, is that he gets paid a lot of money to just go out there and just be on a boat and fish. So please welcome to the stage, little Eric Dudash, our commander from the current VFW state commander from Alabama. Eric Dudash.
Hey.
What's going on, buddy? How you doing?
Not much. As always, it's nice on a Tuesday evening to sit and see you, brother. Yeah.
Oh man, I'm so glad you're here because I was telling you, I was pepping up this video, this live is that we have a great show, and the reason why I wanted you to be here is because I told these guys that you've already been through the process and you know what it takes to be at the level that you're at, and the struggles, the heartbreaks, and the wins, the micro wins. So I want to, that's why I wanted to bring you on, and I'm sure that we're going to have some other friends that are going to be calling in when we open up the lines for this, because we're going to open them up a little bit later. So we get to start. So, like it is tradition every week, or that I do.
Yeah.
What do we do, Eric?
Man, we have listen to good music.
That's what. Yeah, that's one. Yeah, that's always one.
We talk about how much money you think I make when I'm fishing. I don't know where that statement came from, but
hey, man.
The fish are winning. The fish are winning right now. I will just say that publicly. They're a lot smarter than me right now, so maybe I'm not the right guest for this. But fish are smarter than me. What else do we do?
We always do this every week.
We ask the wild questions.
Well, that's for sure. But
That's
we
the
always
end.
do what the day is today, the National Day of, right? The National Day of. So today, February 25th of 2025, the year of our Lord 2025.
Yeah.
Did you know that today is National Clam Chowder Day?
Oh, yeah. I did not know that, but you're right. We do that.
Yeah.
What day it is?
Yeah, so today's the National Clam
Clam
Chowder Day. I
chowder.
wish I lived in Maine so I could go
Yeah,
have
no
some good.
kidding.
A buddy of mine actually lives in Maine, but he's actually traveling to Florida right now, and I wish I was up there in Maine so I can get some lobster. To do lobster.
Lobster.
Yeah, so today is National Clam Chowder Day. Today is also National Chocolate Covered Nut Day.
Did you hear that, Phantom? Yeah, that's National Chocolate Covered Nut Day. Yeah, Phantom's joining us now too. So
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
See, yeah. For those of you who have never met Phantom, Phantom is Eric's service dog, and let me tell you, he's even on the on your state coin right now, which is unbelievable.
He is on my state coin, and don't you dare flip that coin up and challenge me at this time.
How dare you throw my secrets out there? So, all right, let's get to what we actually some notable events that happened today. I'm not going to go through all of them because it is what it is. But for us Gen Xers, which most of us are right now, we remember, at least I grew up watching comedians, right? Like the Three Stooges, Abbott and Costello. Seppo Marx was born in 1901 and passed away in 1979. He was obviously a comedian and one of the 5 famous Marx brothers.
Huh.
Yep. So he passed away today. Well, actually, sorry, he was born today. Let's see who else. No, not that guy. Nope, not that guy. Nope, not that guy. All right, so Sean Astin, 1971. Sean Astin played Mikey Walsh in The Goonies, and Sam Wise
that
in
movie.
And Sam Wise in The Lord of the Rings, but I know him as Rudy. Yeah, Sean Astin.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was that today. Did you know that today was in 1862? The first legal tender act of 1862 passes, putting the $1 bill into circulation. So that was today in the day back in 1862. 1879, Congress passed the first Timberland Protection Act. I'm pretty sure that's going to be something. I think it's forestry related.
Sounds like
wrong.
it, but I don't know. Yeah.
Yep. 1901, the U.S. Steel Corporation is organized under J.P. Morgan. Let's see. 1957, Buddy Holly and the Crickets record "That'll Be the Day." And there was one more I wanted to point out that I saw. Oh, in 1836, Samuel Colt is granted a patent for his revolver firearm.
What's today?
Today, 1836.
I'll be darned.
Right?
Full of history.
I'm telling you. And if you don't know the history, don't you worry about it because I am here to help you.
You got us covered. You got us covered, dude.
Yeah, with the stuff that we like. I just that's the one thing that I really, really like, just history. So without further ado, the other one thing that we do every week is we have our interview of the week.
That's right.
The interview of the week is brought to you by Jersey Mike's, a sub above.
All right. So somebody just pointed out to me that today was day 3 of the siege of the Alamo.
I just saw that. Full of history today, dude.
I know. I'm telling you. See, and this was brought to you by none other than our invited guest, Stephen Biehl, who is actually a Marine. So I'm just, we're gonna start throwing out the jokes out there. I just didn't know the Marines actually even knew history.
If there's one thing the Marines know, it's history. That's history in the flavor of crayon. So
true.
At least, which one's your favorite? Red, purple, red. Okay, I knew it. Every Marine is red. I don't know why.
Yeah.
So, Stephen, welcome. Thank you for being here with us tonight. And our other guest, he's a friend of the show. He's been here before, and we asked him when we talked to him the first time. We were talking about the claim sharks. Because that was a thing back in, 4 months ago there was. We were talking about claim sharks, and I'm pretty sure we're going to cover that today. So without further ado, please welcome Eddie Terry.
How's it going, guys?
Man, that's awesome. Look at that
We're
background.
Here. So, all right. Dude, every time I see a background, he had a different one last time, because that's how I remember, because last time he had the one for the Sharks. And this time he's got this one. And I'm like, dude, I don't know. He's got a couple of daggers back there. I don't know if I want to do that. Don't piss him off. Don't ask him any questions that he might not want to answer.
Those are the ones on my back.
Okay, I might have thrown one by accident.
Or two.
Well, okay, the first one was really an accident because I tripped. But anyway, the second one, yeah. Anyway,
Maybe,
but guys, thank you so much for joining me today. I know we have some people already waiting to dig into this. But I wanted to ask one of you, and Eddie, I know you've been on the show before, so we're going to give Steven the courtesy of asking him a couple questions first, and get to know him as a candidate, as a person, and why the VFW is so important to you, Steven.
So, why is the VFW important to me? To me, the big thing is the camaraderie. That was what I was looking for when I joined the VFW, was the camaraderie. I didn't know. Yeah, I knew it was a veterans organization. I knew, I knew the membership requirements and that sort of thing, but I didn't really know the purpose of the VFW when I first joined. I was looking for like-minded veterans to hang out with, basically. I tried the Marine Corps League, and honestly, the detachment that I had tried out with the Marine Corps League at the time, kind of a bunch of stuffed shirts. I didn't really, even though they were all Marines, I didn't really click with them that much. My American Legion here wasn't really very active, doing a whole lot. But the VFW, I came walked into the VFW on a night. It was not a meeting night. Walked into the canteen, and I basically joined then. Showed up for my first meeting, and like what I saw, because on the second meeting I volunteered to be officer of the day, and so
sucked you right in.
So that was back in 2009. So I'm working on 16 years now. In fact, it was in February, so I'm at 16 years now. I guess I've been in the VFW, and I've been very active. I've at the post level, I've held almost every position there is. I've not been a quartermaster, and I've not been a trustee. I've not been a chaplain. But other than that, I've been just about everything else at the post. I've been a district commander. I've been I'm still a district adjutant, and I thought that I was happy doing all of that until somebody we all know, Dan West, came along, and when he got elected state commander, he appointed me his state officer of the day, and that kind of got me introduced to state VFW politics, and I've not really gotten out of it since then. That was back in 2014, I think. My first year as officer of the day. I did 3 years as officer of the day. Then I became a district commander and deputy state inspector and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah.
For those of you that don't know, Dan West is our national adjutant, and he was one of our past commanders for the state of Texas. So, Eric, that's where he came from. I know you don't know who that is, by the way.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, just a little
making
bit.
that clear. Making that clear.
Just a little bit. A little bit.
Yeah, because I know you're a little behind in Alabama sometimes, so I gotta make sure I clear it out for you there.
Well, I got all my teeth. That's all.
Gave it to you by the VA, which we'll talk about that. I already have a question about the VA, so I want to get through this first round of hey, I am your candidate for this, but we'll get to the question. So, Doug, we'll get you there. So don't worry about it. Eddie, welcome back. Thank you for once again making the time to be here. I know you guys are both on the campaign trail, so I'm pretty sure you guys came back from a district meeting this weekend. That happened because I know, Steven, I saw you on my district meeting this weekend, and Eddie, I saw you at the last district meeting that we held. So I forgave you for not being here because I missed you too.
Well, I had to go to El Paso, so.
Oh yeah. That's the farthest one west.
Yes.
So there you go. So how have you been? So please tell us why the VFW is so important to you.
So I actually got recruited into the VFW while I was on recruiting duty, and got a really nice post down in Victoria, Texas. Got to see what they were doing in the community. That was a very active post in the community, and it always kind of stayed on my back burner. And I was that kid that always wanted to join the military. So it's really the only thing I ever wanted to do in life.
Right.
So as time went along, retired, nothing to do. The wife's like, you better go find something to do before you get hurt.
Before I kill you.
Exactly. You know, so I was active in the American Legion. I was not a fit there. I was already a lifetime member of the VFW. Be honest with you, the only reason I wasn't active was I didn't want to run the gauntlet with the police. Yeah. So I transferred out to that post, and like any good non-commissioned officer, went in to kind of see what do they need from me? Where can I fit in? Where does my skill set fit?
Right.
And got suckered into being the assistant quartermaster.
There you go. Then that's where it all started.
About 9 months later, I was the quartermaster. Yeah, and so that's when I got to start to learn the bylaws and learn that we weren't doing anything the way we were supposed to be doing it. And so got active and became good friends with Dan West, because I stayed on the phone with him trying to figure out which way was up. And the next thing I know, I'm the district commander. And at that level, at that level, started seeing, hey, you know, we could really be doing some good stuff we're not doing.
Right.
And to be honest with you, VFW probably saved my life. You know, looking for that camaraderie. You know, most of us don't fit back in when we come home.
Right.
I was probably one of those. Had a chance to talk a couple people off the cliff and get them active in the VFW, get their lives turned around, and just been moving forward ever since. And you see that next big project and you go, oh, I want to be a piece of that. You know, I want to be a part of it. I want to be active with that. I want to do that. And so it's kind of, here I am. And you can't make a difference if you're not involved.
So true. I mean, a grassroots campaign is usually what gets you, with the people, right? So if you're a commander that is, hearsay, like, well, let's do this because I heard this. It's like, if you're not there in the trenches, you're not gonna know how your posts are doing, or your districts are doing, or even your own posts, So, Eric, I want to ask you this, and I know you already been through this before with these, what these guys are going through right now. And I've asked Eddie this before, because this has been an off the air conversation that we've had, because I was really curious, and I'm sure Steve is going to probably nod his head. He's like, "Oh my God, you're going to talk about this." The financial commitment that is made in order for you to actually do this, and mind you, Texas is twice or three times as bigger than Alabama. So I know you probably like travel the state super quick, and you guys only had 12 districts, maybe.
Not that many. 7.
Not even that. 7 districts.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I wish.
Yeah.
So, I mean, even then, 7 districts, he's traveling around the entire state. The commitment, not only your time, but also the financial commitment that, because after all, this is a volunteer position. You don't get anything out of that unless you do raise. So how important is it for these guys to actually be raising all this stuff? How did you do it? What can you give these guys perhaps some tips?
So that's a great question, Caesar. And as y'all know, I'm from Alabama, but I was stationed in Texas and stayed at a Holiday Inn, so I can provide some advice here. But that's a very true statement. I will tell you, everybody has a why. I've heard both of y'all's whys. I like to say that in Alabama. Tell me your why. Why are you a part of the VFW? Why do you stay in the VFW? And one of the first things is comradeship, and that's something that we all agree with. I think that's really, let's be honest, that's why we joined right off the bat. And that's all we knew of the VFW, besides the stereotypes of it's just a smoky old bar, right? And that's all we knew. And once you get involved in the VFW, you start realizing that There's community service. There's recognizing future leaders in America through our programs that we're getting ready to recognize next week. There's scholarships. So the community service is unbelievable, right? I mean, all the community. I'm sure Texas has a lot of hours. I know Alabama has done an amazing job this year. So bragging on Alabama as well. But that financial commitment, I would say that, yeah, it's important. Definitely, I think we'd all agree. All of us, really, we pay money to be a part of this organization.
Lifetime member.
So when people on the outside see our social media posts and they see all the great things that are going on in Texas, the first thing they say is, "How much do y'all get paid?" And when you have to answer them and go, "We don't get paid," where the payment comes from is in our bylaws. It says we represent all veterans. We don't represent paid members. Nowhere in our bylaws said that, and I appreciate that our bylaws don't say that. But I think really it's not the financial commitment; it's the time commitment. I will tell you that I spent most of my time today. Probably, my wife will probably laugh from another room. I bet you I was on the phone 8 hours today just talking about VFW, and that is absolutely fair to say. 8 hours on the phone. It's very, very difficult. Because I like to fish. If y'all don't know, I'm just making throwing something else out there like my job, right? But I think more of it is a time commitment. And I think being able to have a team in play, as we all know, we grew up in teams, and you definitely got to have a strong team behind you and with you. So I don't necessarily see it as the financial commitment. I think these candidates know that it's going to cost them money to be the commander, but I don't think they look at it that way. But my advice is watch your time. Make sure you're giving back to your family, as we did in the military, or a business that you might have owned. And make sure you're there for your members. That's one of the questions that I'll ask. If I can ask questions, Caesar, I'm going to ask a question.
But I'm gonna hold you to a minute, because you know what time it is. It's 22 after, so we're gonna have to take a quick break.
Okay, go ahead.
Because we already have several questions here coming up from people. And one question is actually from a past state commander. So, so people are watching, so people are gonna definitely do this. But I have to take a break because it's the FCC requires me to do this, and I have to do it because we have to do some station identification. But you are listening to the Battle Rhythm Podcast here on MB Radio, and also we're on Patriot Radio. Also, going to be soon enough, we're going to be on another radio station called Busey Digital. And with that comes a brand new studio. So I will no longer be here in my home studio. I will be at a professional studio here coming up. But when we come back, we're gonna dive into these questions, because these guys are actually already like chomping at the bit to actually do this. So when we come back, we're gonna be listening to the Battle Rhythm Podcast here on MB Radio. So hang on, because here we go.
Listening to my heartbeat pound as daylight fades away. A haunting old familiar sound. The guns go silent and I pray. I'm reading all your letters. I can't get you off my mind. Smoke the day's last cigarette. Thankful I'm alive. Mine's not to wonder why. It's just to do or die. Mine's not to wonder why. It's just to do or die. I rest on broken glass. Only heaven knows how long can this all last. I lived another day, but troubles all around. The guns have fallen silent tonight, but the silence is so loud. Mine's not to wonder why, it's just a do or die. Mine's not to wonder why, it's just a do or die. I look up at the stars, through smoke I see the moon, and I wonder where you are at home tonight, if you can see it too. Another burning city lights the fires in the night. I lie to myself and say that I'm not afraid to die. This war is taking me so far from you, and if we meet again, I'll hold you close and never let you go. But until then, mine's not to wonder why, it's just a do or die. Mine's not to wonder why, it's just a do or die. Mine's not to wonder why, it's just to do or die.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Welcome back to the Battle Room Podcast. Guess what? That was Scotty Frazier. And Steven, you'll like this. He's actually a former Marine. So he's actually doing the music thing now. So, you know, we got him. He's one of our friends to the show. So we play his music all the time, and he's featured on MB Radio all the time. So with that said, right, you can dig it, right?
I saw the chevron on his head. I saw the Marine Corps flag back there. I saw the SF on his guitar case for Semper Fi. Yeah, I catch these things.
There you go. See, you're very observant. I like that. So we already got questions out on the webs, interwebs. So I'm going to pose this question that somebody put up here. This is by Doug Landia Ruler. You probably know him. He's got the knife going, so you better answer this question. A question for the candidates is: with the recent layoffs of the VA, how will the VFW help process claims under your leadership? So, Eddie, we'll start with you.
That's a really good question. It's actually one of my talking points. So, at the National Convention, the National C of A voted that our post-veteran service officers could only send members that were looking for federal benefits to the Department Veteran Service Officer. Here in the state of Texas, we only have two, one located in Waco and one located in Houston. And Commander, in Alabama, you probably only have one, if I had to guess. It's not feasible. It's just not feasible. And so my post at their next meeting will be voting to make a change to that bylaw so that they can send them to any certified service officer. Of course, it's got to go to our district, to their convention, to the state convention, and hopefully it'll pass at national and we can fix that issue. So it's not an issue. And me personally, I don't care who helps. If the DAV, the American Legion, Marine Corps League, the county service officer, we need to get that service member or that family member in front of a service officer that can get them the benefits they need. End of subject. We shot ourselves in the foot. We got to fix it. and that really is the answer. With the layoffs at the VA, that's yet to be seen on what's going to happen there. I go to the Dallas VA, and I've been going round and round with them for 6 years. And be honest with you, there's a few people in there that probably need to go away.
Yeah.
You know, and I love the VA. I mean, without it, there's a lot of veterans that would be in dire straits, but you know, it needs some fine tuning.
Yep, for sure. Stephen, what about you? What do you think about this question?
So, you know, I agree with everything that he said. Basically, you know, if he gets that that bylaw change passed through his post and district, let me know, and because I'm sure that I can get my district to help back that as well. Because I think that's the right thing to do as far as the bylaw change is concerned when it comes to getting service officers for veterans. But for the VA, you know, for starters, you know, we don't know yet what these layoffs, what effect the layoffs are going to have on VA claims or even on VA care or anything like that. We just don't know yet. It's still a little early to understand that. But I think that the important thing that we have to continue to do is we've got to keep our legislative teams, our state and national legislative teams, in front of Congress and let them know, you know, these are the deficiencies that are in the VA. These are the things that we need to see come out of the veterans committees in the House and in the Senate, and how we need to, or what improvements we need to see in the VA, whether it's timelines on processing claims or improvements on veterans care, new hospitals, whatever it is.
That's very important to know that, you know, because we are losing. It's a losing battle. I mean, people get really discouraged because they take forever to get these claims, right? I mean, I went through it, you know, a lot, and I think mine came back pretty damn quick by the time I actually got it, because I went from 10% to 100% in 9 months, and that's like before it was like, oh, you took like 18 months, and you know, obviously the process has improved, but yet, you know, I don't know if they at that point they ramped it up or whatever, but right now we definitely need to have that, and it's hard and sad to see that some of the service officers here at the post level have been pretty much stripped away of anything because they have to be certified. You know what I mean? And I think that's a disservice to us, because two service officers in the state cannot handle, you know, thousands of claims. I'm sorry, they just can't. It's physically and impossible to do it,
Yep.
especially doing it at a time level.
And you're talking about time frame, you know, I retired at 80%. It took me 10 years to get the other 20%. And it was just walking in circles the entire time, doing the VA shuffle. And, you know, back to how that's going to help process the claims. I don't know that they'll be really laying off people in the claims division. It's going to be probably more in the leadership area. And it's going back to, you know, kind of like everything that's on the news. What did you do? What are the 5 things you did this week? You know, and I think if I was working in the claims department, I'd put one. I processed 2,000 claims. You know, there's your 5 things I did. So I really don't think those are going to be things to worry about. And President Trump on his last term, you know, he was definitely pro-military and pro-veterans health. So hopefully we'll be good to go there.
Yep. So we have
same topic. I'm going to stay on this because I just don't know. In Texas, do you guys have county service officers as well?
We do.
So, you know, you can also get those accredited through the VFW if you have not. It's something to maybe look into for both of you and all the other candidates that are running, and anybody that's not running. You can get an MOA signed by to the state to duly accredit all the VSOs in your counties as VFW VSOs. That way, if there's ever a transition where, say, the one VSO might be taking so long, you can, I'll just say at the county level, well, now it goes back and forth. The VFW person, your accreditation, you know, will serve all the way. It's just a way of expanding and being able to help each other through cross checks. So I don't know if you guys do that or not.
So I can actually answer that question.
Good.
So our county service officers are mostly certified through what's it called?
American Legion, or
No, the Texas Veteran Service Commission.
yep.
And they like to do a money grab, which is
Yep.
they're working on right now. There's actually legislation on the floor to move them into another department away from the county judge, where they'll fall under somebody else. And they do not like them to have other certifications. They actually discourage it. I don't know why. My last service officer that I had was extremely good at her job, probably had every certification out there was to have. And I actually tried to get her to be a VFW service officer full time, but she retired on me. So that is actually something we're looking into. And I know several service officers have multiple certifications, whether it be American Legion, the Navy, VFW, and so on. But I was actually talking to one today about this exact topic. So they got some issues going on.
Good. And that's a bit of advice too. You guys are getting ready to encounter on is, we talked about the four walls of the post and comradeship, but when you become that leader, you're going to deal with legislation. Most of my phone calls today were all legislative based. Just be prepared for that. Again, have a good team, and know that my dad used to tell me is 51% of the, hopefully you can make 51% of the people happy with your decision, because 49% are not going to like it. And you gotta be willing to listen to everybody, respect everybody's opinion. Heck, we all fought for it, so we can all agree and disagree and have a cold beverage of choice afterwards.
Absolutely.
But allow people to express themselves, their voices to be heard, whether you agree or not. And that's just just passing that on. Not really a question, just a statement. But that legislation is going to take up a lot of your time. So,
all right. So, Stephen, the next question is for you, and this is from past Commander Norman Macy. He says, "If elected, what will your goal be as junior vice?"
So, my take on this is that as the junior vice, I start thinking about, start planning what I want to do as a commander. But my biggest job is to support that commander and that senior vice commander coming in. I've got the talking points that I've been, traveling the state with. Technology training and tradition are the three focus items that I'm talking about right now. Some of it that I can start working on as a junior vice commander. Some of the technology stuff, here in Texas, we've got our portal that on our dashboard, and I don't even have to wait to get elected junior vice commander to start working on that. I can start sending emails to support at texasvfw.org and request these feature enhancements. I can report bugs and that sort of thing, and I've been doing that. Jason's already got a big long list of things from me that he's moved into.
What does he belong to? What post does he belong to?
I think
that's right, 2772. That's right.
But yeah, I just got an email from him the other day that said he had closed my ticket, but he hadn't closed the items. He moved the items into the sandbox, into the dev sandbox. So that's something that I can work on now. Training, we can always work to improve the training. I know that there have been a question that popped up across the bottom of the screen about some disappointment at service officer training at midwinter. We've got to be very careful with what training we give at various times. And service officer training is one of those, because it's great to have training for service officers that are accredited, but we need to be very careful with what we're telling service officers that aren't accredited, because they don't have the accesses, they don't have those that licensure to be able to file on behalf of a veteran. That we can absolutely give them a list of resources and contact information, and everything, and we absolutely can do better at that. But building up that training and that sort of thing, there's those are a lot of things that, like I said, I can work on them now, and I have been, but I can continue to work on that as a junior vice commander.
Right. To a follow-up question on this, at the midwinter, I understand that the National Junior Vice, the current one, actually said that they were going to change the name of the service officer to a resource officer. How do you feel? How do you think that's actually going to be taken, Eddie? Let's start with you. How do you think that's going to be received by the masses? Because I mean, like, again, you're literally taking out a service officer from the post, and it's like, well, why do you need me for?
Well, I actually think it's a good decision because at the post level, they're not a service officer. They're not accredited. And we do have some posts that have accredited service officers. A lot of people don't know, I don't know, 5, 6 years ago, we had a post service officer that managed to get himself an office at a VA clinic or hospital, one of the two, don't remember, was filing claims. And then one day just didn't show up. And they went into the office and they found all kind of claims in the filing cabinet, behind the filing cabinet, and that post ended up getting sued. So there's a process to it, and I think by changing the name will actually help them understand that they're not the service officer. Their job is to get them to the resources. They are not the resource, and that's very important to know.
Steven, what about you? What do you think about that? How do you think it's going to be received?
Again, I think it's the concept is the right concept. Like anything else that in change in any organization, the VFWs particularly too, it's going to be years before people stop calling a service officer. There are going
habit, right? Just habit.
Yeah. Well, at that, and then you're going to have old Johnny over there that's been a service officer for 15 years. And he ain't going to be happy that you're changing the name of his position. Mm-hmm. I'm the service officer. I've been the service officer. I'm still going to be the service officer. I don't care what you call him. And again, it comes back down to, like Eddie said, the accreditation part of it. But again, if we can start building those lists of resources and directions to send veterans and start publicizing that. And granted, it's even across Texas, as big as Texas is, one list isn't going to cover all of Texas.
Right.
There's going to be a list for the Houston area. There's going to be a list for the Dallas area. There's going to be a list for the Austin area. There's going to be a list for El Paso. There's going to be a list for the Rio Grande Valley. And there may be more than that just in Texas. But we need to start compiling those lists, and we need to make sure that they're published and sent to all of these resource officers at all the posts in those areas.
Right. So Commander Marcy Phillips actually weighed in on this. It says we have VFW cross accredited service officers here in the Montgomery County and over 100 cross accredited throughout the state. We mentioned this in the training, but it looks like we the training team, because she is part of the training team for the VFW in Texas, need to do a better job explaining that veterans can and should ask their county VSO to file their claim under the VFW POA. Very true. So again, Stephen, to your point, you were saying that the training is one of the biggest things one of your talking points, right? Obviously, there again, only certain people get to go to these conventions or these midwinter or even the state conventions, so they don't get to hear these trainings that they have. Yeah, they're available online, but a lot of the times, I think it needs to be, okay, let's go to the district or let's go to the individual post to train these people to actually do it, right? Because again, the reason why I'm doing this podcast is because a lot of people don't get to hear what you guys need to say. And I've been mentioning this before to both of you guys, that not everybody gets to see you at the midwinters or the district meetings. So it's very important that we do get this word out, right?
Yeah. So
absolutely.
One thing though that I think it's a common misconception. The state convention, midwinter conference, the Texas training, we're trying to get away from the word officers training. All of those, as long as you're a member in good standing in the VFW, you can go to those. Now, granted, there are a finite number of seats, and then there's the money and that sort of thing. But nobody in the VFW needs or should be thinking that, well, I'm just a member of post 2427. I can't go to these. Yes, you can. You are a member in good standing of the VFW. You can go to any of those that you want to go to. Now, onto the training thing. Yes, absolutely. We cannot rely solely on our state training session in July to cover all of the training that needs to happen. We've got to be able to put training sessions online. We need to have open forums like this where we can do online trainings and that sort of thing. And we've got to get that training team, and we've got to get them disseminated out.
Yep.
We can't afford to send the training team or even a member of the training team to every post, but we should be able to send them to all of the districts. We've got 23 districts in Texas. It's not really out of the question to be able to send a member of the training team to every district as needed. And I'm not saying that we're just going to shove a training resource down every district's throat, but we want to make sure that that's available to those district commanders. And if we've got a extremely problematic post, a post that's really, we had a post in here in Texas not too long ago that lost the entire leadership team. The commander who resigned, the senior vice, junior vice, everybody resigned. You got an all new leadership team in there. Well, that would have been a good time to probably send a training team member in there, give them some guidance on saying, look, this is how you do your job. This is how you bring your post back from the brink of suspension and get it back on track.
Right. And I like to add on to that. We do these inspections every year.
Right.
And through my time, I've seen where we go in and we see a post in trouble. They get put on suspension. We go in, and one of the things I always did is send me their last inspection, and all the issues are listed there. And it was never addressed, and that's a failure on our part as department leadership. It's plan in place, make sure those are being seen. They're read. You see it. Of course, the district commander should have been calling the state commander going, hey, I got a post with trouble. I need some help with it. Let's get some help in there. But we can take those issues when we see them, take the training team in and address those issues and get them trained there before it becomes a big issue down the road. I got a post in my district right now, struggling to stay alive. We just didn't get to them in time, and that's I'll take some of the blame for that, as being a part of the district leadership. Is it something we should have caught beforehand to go in there? But when you go and you talk to the commander's like, oh, everything's great. Everything's great.
That's the thing, right?
It happens.
And I think part of this is and don't be mad at me. I'm just observations that I've seen. It's a lot of the commanders don't want to be a nuisance to the district commander, right? The post commanders don't want to draw any attention to their post because they're like, any negative attention, we don't want that, right? Mm-hmm. But also, I think I think there's a miscommunication on both sides because one doesn't want to talk to the commander or the district commander because they don't want to get in trouble, and the district commander doesn't want to know. He's like, hey, I don't want any attention right now from the state commander to do this. In that aspect is that where is the integrity and the accountability from both sides? Mm-hmm. Because you as a district officer or a district commander are supposed to hold that post commander accountable for his post. And also vice versa, where that post commander is supposed to hold that district commander accountable for the district and for his own post. Be like, hey, you're supposed to be helping me here. So we need to close that bridge and close that gap between that, because there is a big miscommunication. And I think that's where, but in my observation, I think that's where we're failing. A lot of the commanders, I'm sorry, they are laissez-faire. They don't want to. A lot of the times, they don't want to be hands-on.
Well, Caesar, what I've seen in the past is a lot of times you go in and you got the red brim on. Is why are you here? What did we do? And you're scurrying to hide things. Well, that's a red flag. Okay, what are you doing wrong? I was actually here to visit, but they have that misconception of, and I've heard it, all departments here to take our post. They just want the money. They don't care about us, and we've kind of done it to ourselves, really. And and some of it actually comes down to training. And the best thing I've heard so far is this: we're asking volunteers that have never run a business to run a business, and our post is a business. Mm-hmm. It's nonprofit, but it is a business. You're dealing with finances going in and out. And if we don't train them to have a good business model and show them a good business model, then we have an issue. And we need to be willing to step out there and go, we're not telling you to do it this way, but here's an example. This has been successful.
Right.
And then and explain to them, what works in Dallas isn't going to work in Fort Worth.
Or
And
what works
what works in Houston or Corpus is not going to work in Rio Grande Valley. It's not going to work in El Paso. So you have to fine tune it for your location. But we need to be able to do that, and for them not to be afraid to call and go, I have a question, or I have a problem. Can you help me with it? And us not push them off. Get them to the help and go, I don't know the answer to that. It's okay to say, I don't know, but let me get you the answer. I can find it for you and get back to them.
I think when we've got a post that's in trouble, we've got one of three things happening. Either somebody's trying to hide something, and that's a real problem. And I think that's way far in the minority. That doesn't happen that often, but it does happen. Probably what happens most often is you've got a commander in there that just doesn't know any better, doesn't know, hasn't been trained, may have just, showed up at his second meeting and got elected senior vice commander, and then the commander resigns. And all of a sudden he's thrust into that commander's role. And then thirdly is what the third one was now. So they're either doing something wrong, they don't know what they're doing, or
doing it the way they've always done it.
Or they're afraid to speak up. And you talked about that, Caesar and Eddie. They're afraid to speak up because they don't want to bring that limelight on them. And I think we've got to remove that stigma. There's nothing wrong with asking for help, but again, we're all military veterans. We don't like asking for help. It's kind of part of us is we don't like to ask for help, but we've got to learn that it's okay to ask for help, and as long as we're not weaponizing the tools, the suspension and the 710. When we start weaponizing that, then that's when everybody gets that idea that departments out here close us down. We got to get away from that.
And I'd like to address that real quick for those that are listening. Suspension is not a punishment. It's there to protect you. That is, okay, department's going to help you get back on track. And if something goes wrong, department takes the blame. You're not going to get in trouble for that. That's what that's there for. It's for us for you to get the training you need and get the issues that got you there in the first place taken care of so you can be a successful post.
Veterans Air actually comes up with a interesting statement here. We'll stop electing leadership for 1-year terms.
Yeah, very much.
But not lifetime terms.
Well, there's those districts or posts that have that comrade agreement that it's a 2-year term. My comment to that is, because we talked about it in our district, what happens when you elect a commander that is not doing a good job, so to speak, or failing, and it's a 2-year term. If they're doing a great term, reelect them. There's nothing saying they have to do 1 term and get out. Reelect them. Let them stay.
And
there's been. Go ahead.
And that's one thing. And again, it's another one of my talking points. That I've been talking about is we need to review the things that we do because we've always done them that way, and understand. Is this something that we should be doing? Is it the way that we should be doing it? Is it in line with our bylaws and all this other kind of stuff? But that's one of those things. Those gentlemen's agreements between members, whether it's at the post level, it's at the district level, or wherever, of saying that you can only be commander for 1 year, or you can only be commander for 2 years. In my district, we had an agreement like that. There had not been a district commander serve 2 consecutive terms since the very first district commander, when the district was instituted, until I got elected district commander and I ran for re-election. There were a lot of the past district commanders that disagreed with my decision to do that, but the district agreed, and the district re-elected me. I didn't run for re-election because I thought that I was a better district commander than anybody else. I ran because I wanted to break that precedent. I wanted to show that it's okay for us to have a district commander reelected. And I think the point gets down to, look at our bylaws. The bylaws say that any member in good standing is eligible to run for any position in the VFW, period. Doesn't say that you can only run for 1 year. Doesn't say that you can only serve for 2 years. Doesn't say you have to serve for 3 years. It says that any member in good standing is eligible to run for any position in the VFW. You know, if we need to change that, then let's propose a bylaws change. You know, but I don't think we need to change it.
Well, it's hard. Again, and I had this conversation with Lynn Toomer, former Past State Commander, that it's literally the membership who gets to elect and decide how it's going to go. If they want to have a 2-year term for the commander, or they want to re-elect a commander for a district commander, or even a post commander, it's up to the membership. You have nothing to do with it other than, I agreed to run one more time and actually fulfill that office. But it's literally the membership that decides all of our leadership. So that's what, you know, people don't realize. It's like, you're right. We have to be in good standing and not have any, you know, last minute, you know, whatever it is, you know, problems or whatnot, and be in good standing and be able to go. Now, if I say, oh, I'm going to run for this, and nobody knows me, like, well, who the hell is he? Like, where's he coming from? You have to be involved in order for people to know who you are, right? Because people are getting to know you, and if they know you, like, hey, I know he's done a good job. He was able to raise, you know, so much money for this and this. So he could definitely bring some good experience for this or that. We have to be able and willing to go the extra mile, go above and beyond to do certain things in order for your name to get out there and people get to know you. So be like, you know what? Let's get rid of this whole, you know, I don't want to say decorum, but I want to say, like, get rid of this, like, and shake things up and throw somebody that's been out of nowhere, and because we know who he is, they're gonna do a good job. So, I mean, tell me I'm wrong, please. Somebody tell me I'm wrong. So, all right. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our next break, and when we come back, we're gonna keep talking. We're gonna open up the phone lines for people to call in, and maybe take some calls from the audience that's out there, because I know we've getting some good questions here from our socials. But we're gonna open up the phone lines to get ready and go from there. So, are you guys still pumped up? We still got another hour of this. So you guys are good with this?
Fired up, brother. Fired up.
Good to go.
See, Steve, you don't have a motto. You don't have anything like in the rear with the gear.
No. You can talk about us, but you can't talk without us. I don't know. I've been calm. Come on.
I mean, I don't know. Like, at least you didn't do the non-original thing of like Semper Fi, you know, always Marine. I get it. Right. I get it. We get it. Just
how would you not?
Yeah. How can you? That's the question. Right. That's a real question. All right, so you listen to the Battle Rhythm podcast here on Military Broadcast Radio, also on Patriot Radio, and also on digital Busey Digital Media. When we come back, we're going to keep talking to the candidates here, and I'm going to open up the phone line. So when we come back, we're going to go into even deeper conversations. And one question I have is integrity. So when we come back, we're going to talk about that. And other than that, enjoy this song.
It's the guts and it's the glory. 100 stripes, 100 stories. It's the Pledge of Allegiance on the 4th of July. It's them handwritten letters from home. It's them sleepless nights alone. It's his newborn baby he left with his wife. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, lay down his life. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, for these stars and stripes. Hey. From the fields of Indiana to the swamps of Louisiana to the golden coast of California, Uncle Sam's the only family he's got. His purple heartbeat won't stop. And his 18th birthday was the day he was born. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, lay down, hear the light. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, for these stars and stripes. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, stand on the front line. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, pay the ultimate price. He was the man of the house when he was born. His family is proud but torn. But if you knew him, you would understand. He was raised on how to be brave, just to see the flag still wave. And then he came home with only one hand. He's Mr. Red, White, and Blue. Lay down, hear the light. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, for these stars and stripes. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, stand on these front lines. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, he'll pay the ultimate price. Lay down, hear the light. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, for these stars and stripes. March in line, march in line. Hey. Hey.
You are listening to the Battle Rhythm Podcast on Military Broadcast Radio, brought to you by LT Defense. You can find us on the web by going to mbradio.us. You can also download the app on the Apple Store and Google Play.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Welcome back to the Battle Rhythm Podcast. This is Caesar. I am joined by Eric Dudash, the current commander for VFW in Alabama. Eddie Terry, one of the one of the Texas candidates. I'm sorry, I got ahead of myself there. I was thinking.
I'm not Lynn. I mean,
I mean,
I grew a beard and everything trying to.
You guys are like brothers. I just can't. You guys, like, when I first met you guys, I was like, I couldn't tell you apart because you both were the same. So I'm just saying. And then we also have Steven, the lonely Marine, up in here. And to be honest with you, we have all four services represented right now, the major four. So Eric was Air Force, as you can tell by his freaking couch over there, and we got Steven living out in the barracks out there with the wooden background, and then obviously Eddie and I are like tenting it over here with the Army. But then I was also Navy, so that was Steven's ride. Uber, I was his Uber. So I don't think we're gonna have any Space Force anytime soon because they're just not there. But soon enough we'll have some. So not anytime soon though, not in my watch. No,
I've got a Space Force veteran in my district.
But he was Air Force first, man.
He was Air Force first, yes.
His qualifying actually is Air Force, not Space Force.
True.
So, although I did when I was deployed as a contractor and I was in Syria and I was in Niger and Djibouti, there were Space Force. So there are out there. They just haven't been ratified yet, or they haven't really come around. So we definitely.
If you want to play that game, Caesar, if they qualified Air Force, didn't they really qualify Army? Army Air Corps?
I don't think so. I don't think so. They just took the money and ran and made an Air Force. So, what are you going to do, Eric? You're over there. Just sit
Yeah,
there,
you know,
sit there in your leather couch and just shh.
all I say is we are all aware that the next battle could possibly come not from the ground. You know, I watched a movie the other day, and if our GPS goes down, I'm lost. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah, well, because
Uh,
at least the three of us, not you, Eric,
yeah,
not you, we'll be
I
fine because we
watched.
could definitely take the ruler and then
Yeah,
find our azimuth, and we'll be fine.
you know, I'm not here to promote shows and all that kind of stuff. But I think the movie was called. It's a series called Day Zero, or I don't know if you've seen it yet. I think it's on Netflix. Just came out, just released. Robert De Niro plays it, and you know, you take down the grid, and which controls all your safety devices, like railroad crossings that don't go down because you know they enable these devices, and 3,400 people got killed in one minute because that's how they battled us. So you got to watch it. Hey, Space Force is going to be vital here shortly.
You're thinking of that movie Christmas Party with that.
No,
Yeah, the sister was Jennifer Aniston, and the whole
no,
like grid
let's
goes down.
not.
That's what you're
Yeah,
thinking
Day
of.
Zero, Day Zero.
Okay,
Yeah,
Day Zero.
yeah,
So
yeah.
all right. Well, again, I want to thank you guys for making a night out of us with us here, because it's important for us to let the listeners and actually our VFW comrades that are out there that what you're doing is important, and we want to know what you're definitely thinking. But one of the things that I definitely want to ask is how important is integrity to you? Because integrity is one of the core leaderships in the Army, and I'm sure it's anywhere else, but integrity, right? Integrity is a big part of what we do, because if you don't have any integrity, then what do you have? So Stephen, how important is integrity to you, and how can you say that you have a lot of integrity and you expect the same?
Yeah, and I do. I mean, I'm not real sure how to. I'm not real sure how to explain that, other than, you know, if you know me, then, you know, if I say I'm going to do something, I'm either going to do it, or I'm going to let you know that I can't for whatever reason, or that the situation has changed. You know, if it's, you know, again, I can't promise that everything that gets said gets accomplished, and anyone that does say that might be lacking in integrity, because obviously you know, everything, situations are going to change, but you know, is integrity important to me? Yes. You know, the one thing that I hate is a thief. Can't stand a thief, and someone that steals the truth is just as much of a thief as someone that steals your wallet. And I think that integrity is owning up to that. And so, you know, if you don't have integrity, then you're stealing you know, my faith in you, and you're stealing my trust.
I'm glad you brought something up about stealing. How would you feel if somebody in your post would steal and take money from another veteran, knowing dang well that they're just taking it from them? How would you approach that? How would you feel about that?
Yeah, and again, you know, I can't stand a thief. So, you know, that if they're taking money from an individual, and I'll start off with, if they're taking money from an individual, there's a civil matter there. Now, that's kind of up to the victim of that on whether they pursue that civil matter. But from the VFW side, you know, if it's one post member from another, that's absolutely, you know, against our bylaws. You don't take from other. You know, we've got VFW rules about that. You know, our bylaws are against that. You know, that charges can be brought against that. There's a complaint. You know, depending on, you know, obviously it's a very ambiguous question, but, you know, depending on the situation that's involved there, you know, it can be, you know, a counseling session, and I mean an actual counseling session, right, back behind behind the barracks counseling session, but where
Wall to wall counseling. Let's just say it. Wall to wall counseling.
Yeah. Talk to the guy, find out what's going on. What's the issue here. We don't condone that type of activity around here, that sort of thing. Again, depending on the situation, then that formal charges and start down Article 9 proceedings from the VFW side. If that's warranted, again, depending on the situation. If stealing from the post is now stealing from all the members, we've had that happens too, and I think that's an even bigger issue because now I'm the victim as a member of that post. I'm part of that victim.
Yeah, and I know it was a very ambiguous question without actually getting into giving you a good example, but I think it gives us an idea of the type of people that we need to be strive for. You have integrity, because integrity goes hand in hand with honesty, right? I think you have if you're honest, then you're gonna have integrity because you at least were honest about it, and you're gonna have that integrity saying that he's a stand-up guy, he's gonna do this. So, Eddie, I'm gonna ask you the same question, and it's pretty ambiguous as to it's a pretty broad question and pretty what it feels like, or not what it feels like, but what do you think is important, and why do you think integrity is important in this position?
The best way I can explain it is what my dad taught me, and that is this: son, you can lose everything. All you have is your word. And when you lie, you lose your word. That's it. You discredit yourself, you discredit your entire family. Within the VFW doing that, you discredit the entire organization. Mm-hmm. You make us all look bad. You're letting your brothers and sisters to your left and right down. And talking about what Steve was saying there, when I first became a district commander, probably week 2 into the job, thinking there's nothing these people can do that will shock me, and had a post quartermaster had stole a little over $40,000 from the post. The trustees, believe it or not, were doing their job and caught him on a 99-cent charge, and he was refabricating the bank statements. Oh. I was shocked. I'm too lazy to do that much work, but it was really shocking to see that. And so with integrity within the organization, it's our word. So when we're out doing something, even in the community, and we tell, the mayor, we're going to be there to do that, and we don't show up to do it, we just discredit the entire organization. Right. So we can't just talk the talk. We have to be willing to walk the walk. It's without integrity, you don't have anything.
So let me remind everybody that the phone lines are now open. You can call the show, you call the studio at 720-619-0627. If you call first, I'm going to answer you first, and I might give you a little something. But I do have a question for the both of you, and I'm going to start with you, Stephen. With state commanders making their own priorities each year, what is the one thing that you want to be continued, that you want for it to continue after your year, that you establish as a commander?
So, the training team is near and dear to me. I didn't start the training team. Lynn Toomer, his year started the current iteration of the training team that we've got. I want to continue to perpetuate that and keep that going. I know that's not a really original answer, but that's the one thing that is kind of near and dear to me. That's a significant change, I think.
What about you?
I'm gonna piggyback on the exact same thing. I have a plan in place, and I'll be straight up. Don't reinvent the wheel. Stealing some things that Robert's doing. He's putting a lot of his money where he shuffled his budget in order to put a lot of money into membership, and it's very important. I agree with it 100%, but I want to get some of that money into the training team and keep them on the road. And I would hope that the people or the commanders following would continue to keep that line item sufficient enough to keep the training team on the road. When you know better, you do better. and we got to get out there and help these posts be successful. And on one of our candidates' talking points is these grants, and grants is great. Getting money to the post is great. They need it. But if they don't have a good business model, it's not going to do them any good. They have to have a good business model.
And we talked about being a business, right? We talked about the VFW being a business, even because your canteen is going to be a business. So you're definitely talking about that. Now, I was corrected. Go ahead.
Yeah, one thing, Caesar, that actually, I think that we've seen in the past, we have seen drastic swings from, we're doing things this way one year, and now we're doing them this way the other year. If we can minimize those swings, and I'm not saying everybody's got to tote the same line and keep the same project, but if our swings are very minimal, then we can all get a lot more accomplished because we're not undoing what was done the previous year. And honestly, that's really, if I had a legacy that I would want to see perpetuated, it's that I'm abiding by what the membership wants to see the direction of the department go, enough to the point that my successor doesn't really have to make any big changes to the program.
Yeah, and I just want to make a note real quick that I was actually corrected that there are 153 VFW accredited SOs in Texas. So we're definitely out there. We just have to make sure that we find them, right?
Well, we got to be able to use them now.
Correct.
You know,
That's
been taken away from us.
The two that we've got are the two that were referenced earlier, are the two that the Texas Veterans Commission pays salaries for.
They are the department veteran service officers.
Yes.
No, be good. All right. So I know we got a little bit, deep into the integrity whole thing, and everything, but Stephen, you mentioned something about tradition. What about the tradition? What is it that one of your talking points is tradition? What do you mean by tradition?
So actually, I had a member this weekend, came up to me after the meeting was over with, and it said that, when I heard you talk about tradition, when I heard you announce that tradition was one of the things you were going to talk about, you went a completely different route than what I thought you were going to go. And he liked the way I went. It was not where he thought I was going to go, but he liked it. And the big thing that, that I'm purporting is that I'll fall back to the, we've always done it this way thing, and that's what I talk about is, we need to take a look at the things that we're doing because we've always done it that way. And we need to make sure that, is it in line with our congressional charter? Is it in line with our bylaws? Is it in line with all of our other laws? And evaluate it that way. If it's not in alignment with any of that, then we need to either change what we're doing, how we're doing it, or if it's in the case of our bylaws, maybe a change to our bylaws is warranted to accommodate that. If it is in line with all that stuff, then we need to document it someplace. Again, a bylaws change or a standing rules change or whatever, to document that so that now our succeeding generations in the VFW know what we've done, why we've done it, how we're doing it, and then we can keep that going. If it's important enough for us to do it because we've always done it that way, then let's get it documented and make sure that it's going.
Eddie, what do you think about that? What you see a tradition being part of
Absolutely. I mean, it's, how you lay your cover down on the table. You don't eat with your cover on. I mean, those are traditions, and they those are there for a reason. But then Stephen talks about it in his campaign speech, where there's things we do it just because it not necessarily be the best way to do it. So it's not a tradition. People just think it's a tradition. It's, we had the same issues in the military, but we've always done it this way. It's our tradition. No, that's not a tradition. This is a tradition over here. And I think people cross the line on that sometimes. And I'm all about them. They're important. I believe we should wear blues and gray, or for Texas, blues and grays whenever we get installed. It's a solemn event. It's important. As chief of staff, we know what my commander did, and the fallback on that. But that's it. It's certain things are there for a reason, and I think they should stay. And there's some things that, as Stephen says, we need to look at, and does it really need to be there?
Yeah.
But yes, tradition is very important within the VFW. We're a military organization.
Do you think traditions are training related?
Training related?
Yes.
Sure. I won't say that necessarily training related. Should they be trained? Yes. Because you don't know. There's several things. How do you enter the podium? Go behind the podium. How do you step off the podium when you walk away?
How do you address?
How do you, when you speak, when you stand to speak, how do you speak? Do you speak to the comrade that spoke to you, or do you speak to the podium?
Correct.
How do you take your cover off? That's one a lot of people don't know. Proper way to take your cover off whenever you're going to take a prayer, and it's and it goes on. So yeah, a lot of those need to be taught, and a lot of posts, won't say a lot, some posts have a new member program where it comes in, they have a sponsor who works with them, and they walk them through all those traditions so they understand this is why we do this is why we do that. And to brag on my wife a little bit and talk about the auxiliary, my post stood up a new auxiliary, and she spent the first 6 months training in the meetings, to teach her members, this is why we do this is why we do that. And they went step by step through everything, one thing at a time, instead of just throwing them to a meeting and they're lost going, why are they walking in a circle? So
So Stephen, do you have anything to add to that?
No, not really. I think that's that I would agree with all that. We've got to train those things, and as I'm my post judge advocate. I've been doing some of those training things at my post, but not every post has got a junior vice commander candidate or a somebody that's been in the VFW long enough to know the traditions and
Right.
how to take your cover off and what the different color of the braids mean and how to address the podium and all that sort of thing. They may not have somebody like that as their judge advocate or someone that can do that training. So
right. So I did notice that both of you guys mentioned that have the training team on the road. I get it, right? But in this day and age, don't you think that do you guys have a plan to actually do some of the remote or virtual learning? I mean, look what we're doing right now. We're able to get through a lot more people through this, actually doing videos, doing all that stuff, and making sure that they do get that.
It's already in place, Caesar. Zoom's already set up to do that with the training team. Put it in place 2 years ago.
And it's all tools in the toolbox.
Mm-hmm.
So the remote training, whether using Zoom is one of the tools, but there are going to be instances where you just can't beat hands-on.
Right.
Getting somebody actually there in your face. There's just always going to be that need.
And so I guess I need to elaborate a little bit more. So when I'm talking about having a trained team on the road, it's going to that post that's struggling to help that post where you're doing a one-on-one. You can't train a quartermaster through Zoom. You got to be sitting there looking at their books with them, getting on the computer with them. Technology. Stephen talks about it and I had a great conversation with our state commander this last weekend in El Paso, and he brought up a good point as we're moving forward with technology, and every year we seem to move a little faster. And as I go into these posts, I still run into quartermasters and commanders that don't know how to turn on a computer, that don't know how to send an email, that they want to be able to mail it. They want to be able to do the paper copy, and that's fine. And so we got to keep that in place. I mean, we're truly in a pendulum swing between our older veterans and the new ones coming in. And we got to find that balance to make sure we're keeping them in the loop, but we're bringing in the younger veterans and with the technology they know. And so we got to find a way to make sure that they both stay in place and work together.
Okay. Let's switch gears a little bit. And Eric, I know that you're going to have questions about this because you said your department is actually trying to install a VFW foundation, right?
Yeah, we're entertaining the thought. Yes.
Okay, well, these two guys can definitely answer some of these questions, and I have a question from former or past state commander, the VFW has a great foundation, but we can build on that foundation. What is your plan on actually building on that relationship with the foundation, Stephen?
So how to build on the relationship? I think that we've got a great relationship there. I think that what we might be lacking is knowledge of it. At the member level and even at the post level, a lot of times, knowing that it's there, knowing how to get into it, knowing how to request things, even knowing how to donate to it. I think that those are if we've got a deficiency, that's really where that's at. There have been some major improvements here within the last year or two on the application process. And we've got you've got to balance there on. We've got a small staff in our foundation. And for most of the time, that's probably sufficient. But you get a major disaster, you get something that comes along where there's a larger influx of requests of that foundation, then they can get overloaded with those requests and stuff too. And as long as people understand that and kind of can take that with a little bit of a grain of salt, I think where response times might be a little bit delayed. I don't know that we need to add staffing or support structure to the foundation, but I'm not the executive director, and having that relationship with the executive director, I think is important to understand what their requirements are, what they need out of us.
Eddie, I know you have a pretty good knowledge of, because you've already been the chief of staff and worked along with the foundation. How can you improve on that relationship, and what can you going forward? What can you do?
Well, so I would start with, I have a pretty good working relationship with the foundation now. I'm actually one of their reviewers. So as applications come in, some of them are sent to me to review, to send back to them, to looking for mistakes, what's missing, do they need more information? So make recommendations, that kind of thing. The other is that remembering that the foundation is separate from the VFW. It's its own 501c3. It's not a C19, it's a C3. And it's there as a tool for us, and we need to remember that we cannot make it completely under VFW control. We need to have those outside people in there that are members on that board for transparency. They're doing great things. Some of our grants that we got in were causing some issues as far as they dictated how much money could be given to an individual that needed it, what kind of paperwork was required. It was getting a little redundant, or in my case, or in my feeling, some of it I think was a little too strenuous, but here again, I'm not the head of the board, and I'm not knee deep in it. So we need to continue to, we're pretty much doing what we're doing now with it, making sure that it's above board, and we're having those smart civilian people on there that are, and business owners on the board that understand how those type of things work, which we are doing now. I think it's good enough that other states are coming to us to see how to start a foundation. Our foundation travels to those states to help them get started, and even I think worked with National starting their foundation. So I mean, we're doing great things.
Eric, I know you got some questions about that, so go ahead and fire away on that.
No, I'm just glad to hear that you guys are traveling and helping other states, because those that don't have a foundation, it's always do we need one? Do we not need one? And all the challenges. So no, I really don't have any questions on the foundation as of now. I think it would help people. I do. I believe there's a purpose for it. But no, I don't have any questions on that right now. One question I do have, though, is And I'm glad you guys are talking about it. And first of all, thanks for having this open dialogue, Caesar, and getting everybody. This is what's needed. I think in our VFW, it's needed not only at the post district, department, Southern Conference, and national. I think this open dialogue allows people to learn as long as they're listening. But when you become the commander, and I heard the word transparency, and I'm big on transparency. How will you ensure that you are transparent to all your members in the state of Texas?
Eddie, go ahead, and we can start with you.
Outstanding. And I'll start with one that's my pet peeve right now. So our budget and finance meeting is closed. Even I went to it and asked to sit in as a candidate for junior vice commander and was told no. Was asked to leave, one of them as chief of staff. And I have a hard time with that. So that tells me you're doing something you don't want the membership to know behind closed doors. It's a red flag. You can't speak. It's like the C of A. You can come in, sit down, and listen. And then after the meeting, if you got questions, you come up to one of the commander or one of the other board members and you ask your questions. Or better yet, go to your district commander and have them ask the meeting in the C of A. I don't believe in closed meetings. They can't exist. I believe in an open door policy. Should you use your chain of command? Absolutely. If I'm the commander, someone calls me with a problem, that's not a canteen issue, because that's a post issue. But you call me with an issue, I'm going to listen. And then I'm going to ask you, have you talked to your post commander? What's about the post commander? Great. Have you talked to the district commander? We need to work that process because that's who I'm going to go to. I'm going to send it back to them. They have to handle business at that level. And we always want to try to do things at the lowest level possible, Right. So that's the first step. Is there's no secrets in the VFW, and that's the most important. And then when we come out and we talk about the budget, or we're doing something, we're making a donation to an organization, we don't always explain why we're making that donation. So for an example is the VFW gave some extra money to USVSD, and I need to put this out there. I am all about service dogs. I have my own. I don't want to do away with it. I'm all about V-sweeps. That's a non-issue. But all they said was we made a donation. Well, I thought that's what we had V-sweeps for. It wasn't explained on why we gave them more money. So it to the membership. It was probably explained somewhere, but it didn't make it to the membership. And so we have to make sure that information is going from the commander all the way down to the member. But when a member sends something up and it needs to make it to state commander, that it gets there. It doesn't get whitewashed somewhere. And so I guess that's really my transparency thing is telling them, if you make a mistake, hey, comrades, I made a mistake. I apologize. I'm human. Something went wrong. Don't try to hide it.
Yeah. Stephen, what do you think about Eric's question? How can you improve on that?
Well, basically, I can say ditto to Eddie, but I know that they're again kind of back to that whole pendulum swing on from one extreme to the other with succeeding administrations at commander. I've seen commanders that every council of administration is closed. It's just council of administration, except for that one at the convention. But all the other council meetings are closed. But I've seen commanders where at least they said that every meeting was going to be an open meeting, but then you still might end up with one that gets closed. I understand that there are things that need to go on in an executive session. An executive session is something completely different than a closed meeting. But I agree that meetings should all. We are a member-driven membership organization. Why are we excluding our members from it?
Right. That's very good point, because as Eddie mentioned, it's like why do you need to be closed? Like, what are you hiding behind everything, right? What is it that you're really hiding? If you're not transparent and you're not communicating with the rest of your membership, then again we go back to this whole thing that we talked about earlier, your integrity and your honesty. right? Because that all of this goes hand in hand. And let's just be honest, like, do you want somebody that's going to be, you're going to be questioning, 24/7? Of course, we got to question the commander, like, hey, what are you doing this and this? I'm not saying that in a bad way, but if you start doing certain things that are questionable, like, then we as members have the right to question those decisions or
we have the obligation to question them, not just the right. I have the obligation.
Yep. That goes back to integrity.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Don't be afraid to ask the hard question.
That's right. And one thing I love how you guys are saying about the members, one thing when you're transparent, you're actually protecting everybody by being transparent. The only problem with transparency, and it's just a warning, the more you open up, the more daggers you take. Mm-hmm. So just be available for the daggers that are coming your way. But again, you're protecting every member by being more transparent. But I will say, in the state of Texas, you guys have a great commander. You guys have amazing leaders that you've had in the past that I've heard you guys mention names, and I sit here and go, that's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good
name
one.
dropping real quick.
Yeah. So you guys are very blessed, and getting mentorship from the right people. Granted, we're not always right. No one's always right. We all do. We all got a little bad in us. You know what I mean? But
right. But we learn from them too.
That's right.
You learn what not to do.
But open dialogue, being transparent, agreeing to disagree. That's what I love about our organization. So thank you.
Yep. Yeah. And I already got my first 2 daggers on my back. I'm doing.
That's
good.
what I was about to say. Yeah, he's already started. So
yeah, that's right. That's right.
All right.
Yeah.
So we're gonna take a quick break. I want to do this because this is Lynn's favorite segment when it come back from the break. So we're gonna do Lynn's favorite segment, and Eric already knows this, and then Steven, you'll figure out what it's going to be in a minute. So you're listening to the Battle Rhythm Podcast here on Military Broadcast Radio, also on Patriot Radio, and on Busey Digital Media, and soon we'll be at our new home down in Podcast on Main in Split Window Studios in Denison, Texas. That's where our new home is going to be at. We're going to be there. When we come back, we're going to ask those really, really tough questions that nobody ever wants to question or ask. So stay with us. We'll be back in about 3 minutes. Let's see how many minutes. This song's going to be about 4 minutes. So because I gotta go to the restroom. So when we come back, we're going to come back. So stay with us. We'll be back.
Too big, wanting to grow up way too quick, searching for spotlights since I was 6. Hello, my name is Dream Too Big. Hello, my name is way too loud. My voice can cut right through the crowd. God make fun of for it, but who's laughing now? Hello, my name is way too loud. I know I've had my moments and I've had heartaches. God is making miracles out of my mistakes. You can say I won't make it, and I can tell you that I don't really care. 'Cause hello, my name is going somewhere. Far. Lost all my words in a mason jar. Locked eyes with a stranger at the end of the bar. Hello, my name is You'll Go Far. Well, hello, my name is One More Try. I put too much stock in bad advice. 'Cause anything worth leaving is worth loving twice. get knocked down. You're never gonna leave the ground. You can tell us all about it when you come back around. Hello, my name is Get Knocked Down. Hello, my name is Stand Back Up. Keep moving even when it gets rough. I've given so much, but I ain't giving up. Hello, my name is Stand Back Up. I know I've had my moments and I've had heartache, but God is making miracles out of my mistakes. You can say I won't make it, and I can tell you that I don't really care. 'Cause hello, my name is going somewhere. Going somewhere. Oh, it's going
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Welcome back to the Battle Rhythm Podcast. That was Lauren Rose Thayer with Hello, my name is, not that one. Hello, my name is, that's the name of the song. But hey, Eric.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it's over here. I just don't want to get up from the camera.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I've heard that one before.
Oh, I owe you a Coke beverage.
That's two, I know. But hey, I'm gonna take, before we go back into what we're here to do, Eric, I know you have a major announcement to make.
Oh man, I didn't know that I was going to be asked about this, but
Well,
yes.
hello, this is my show. I do what I want.
I know. So I am actually running for vice chairman of the Southern Conference. So I threw my name in the hat to represent all the different states and help them. And of course, we all talked about what we can do to make it better. And I think transparency is my big thing in the Southern Conference. I think that you guys in Texas have so many good things going on that Alabama needs to know about. And I think Alabama's got some good things going on that Texas needs to know about. And we need to break down the barriers. Sometimes we get the borders, right? Probably shouldn't say that, but we got to take down the borders in order to get better as a whole conference. And I think that I'm proud of the Southern Conference. I love showing up to places where they go, "Damn, here comes Southern Conference." That's what I like. So I'm trying to elevate that. So thank you for that opportunity, Caesar.
Eric Dudash, the new border czar for the Southern Conference.
Don't say that. Don't say that. Yeah.
So there's Norman to get a laugh out of this, because since he's on here, but when we lost District 15, we teased him that the district commander, that Oklahoma was going to take them. So Oklahoma was like, "Oh yeah." So it was kind of a thing. So we call Oklahoma District 15 now. so they're part of us. So they just had some shirts made up and it says Texoma. So
yeah, that's great.
Yeah. So we're having a good time with it.
Yeah, that's what it's about. You can't have a good time while we're here, Right. Really.
So I'm gonna put this out there now, and I know Eric is already committed, and I'm gonna make him commit one more time in public. May 3rd, my post, BFW post 2772 here in Sherman, Texas, is gonna be putting on a golf tournament. We're gonna have some big names coming up May 3rd. So if you want to come out here, let me know. Let us know. The info is in our website, BFW277.org. That's where you can actually get the release forms and all that stuff, and get your team together. And we're gonna have a good time that day. And then the next day, guess what we're gonna do? I know that the department is gonna probably be invited to go to the Motor Speedway by Aspen Dental. That's gonna be the next day, so it's gonna be a fun-filled weekend for many of y'all, many members. So it's gonna be super fun. If you're a member of Good Standing, better talk to your commanders because we want to go to that. You know what I mean? That's gonna be happen. But with that said, we have come to the part of the show. This is Lynn's favorite, and Lynn Toomer loves. I don't know why. Maybe because of the sound of this intro.
Rapid fire questions of the week, sponsored by James Oreskog, giving veterans a voice.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
All right, rapid fire questions. Here we go. Eric, I'm gonna defer to you, and I know you're gonna ask several questions that had nothing to do with what we were talking about. It could be anywhere, anything that you can think of that these guys may be able to answer it, because you know what, it's fun, and we get away from actually asking those questions. But we did have a lot of good questions that people brought, and you know, some of them we asked. But the one thing I like doing this, or why I like doing this segment, is because I want to see how quick you think on your feet. That's literally what it is. So here we go. Eric, go ahead.
All right. Favorite military movie?
Heartbreak
Ridge.
Oh, what did I hear? Heartbreak Ridge and
Full Metal Jacket.
Full Metal Jacket.
Full Metal Jacket. Full Metal Jacket. Mine was Men of Honor. How about you, Caesar? I can put you on the spot.
Hey, first of all, you don't tell me you're not my real dad.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Second of all,
you're not the boss of me.
Second
So
of all,
what is it, Caesar? What is it? What is it? What is it?
Well, you know what? It is actually what's the one with Gunny Highway?
Yeah,
Heartbreak Ridge. Yeah, that's right. Gunny Highway. That's it's so out far fetched, but it's funny, man. It's so hilarious. He's like, oh, I'm the what is it? Ayatollah of rock and roller.
That's right. Ayatollah rock. Okay. Besides your residence in Texas, name your favorite city in the state of Texas.
Ooh.
South Padre Island.
South Padre Island.
Because
Okay.
he grew up there.
I don't like cities.
Okay. Doesn't have to be a city. Town. City, town.
Community. There you go.
Community.
You know, I kind of like the New Braunfels area, Green.
Hey, I like that. I like Green. I like Green, Texas. So there you go. So how about you, Caesar?
Actually, I think Alaska.
Texas, brother. Well, there is Alaska, Texas, but
yeah.
I think. Well, no. Sorry, I was thinking state. Sorry, different state.
Yeah.
Well, for me,
you're not the boss of me. Hey, listen to the questions, Caesar. Listen to the questions.
That just goes to show you that. Oh wait, squirrel.
Yeah, squirrel.
No, to be honest with you, like if I had my choice in Texas, I think I would probably pick somewhere in East Texas. Because the scenery is way different than up here in North Texas where I'm at. East Texas has a lot of trees that are like almost like a forest type. And growing up in California and going to the to see the General Sherman, which is the tallest tree in the world, because I was 2 hours away, that kind of reminds me of it a little bit. The foliage is just awesome. So somewhere probably out in East Texas.
All right. Who makes the best barbecue in the state of Texas?
Me. Or actually, my wife.
Okay.
She's award-winning, dude. She is an award-winning chef.
Give me a restaurant. What's the restaurant then?
Ooh.
Okay, are we talking chain restaurants? Or are we talking
anything? Who makes the best barbecue in Texas?
Oh, let's see.
I'm trying to think the one I like. It's in Stephenville, Texas. Hard 8. That's mine. So what's y'all's?
I don't know. I really don't like chain food barbecue, or even restaurant barbecue.
Wow.
Kind of spoiled.
Yeah, you are.
Well, my wife's a award-winning smoker, so you kind of get rotten.
Yeah, you got a winner.
Yeah, she's a keeper.
She's a keeper. Wow. I don't have any other questions.
All right, I got some. And
I know Caesar has some.
Let me pull from my repertoire. Okay, so I always and Eric already took mine, which is my the question I always lead off with is a military movie.
That's right.
What is your favorite series either current or past.
Ooh, hold on.
Let me look at my phone.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to think of the name of it because it's been off for years. It was
My wife
Vietnam.
and I
They were on
are-
the beach.
The wife and I are really into the Yellowstone
Yeah.
with the prequels and everything. So 1883, 1923, Yellowstone, all of those.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yellowstone's good. I'll go with Yellowstone because I can't think of the other one. China
So you
Beach.
guys-
That's it. China Beach.
China Beach. That's a good one. I and you guys live in Texas, so I like Landman. You know, so
That's a good
Yeah.
pull. What about you, Eric?
That's what you just said, Landman.
Oh, Landman.
yeah, Landman.
Because I was reading the text. Somebody said the 100.
The 100. Oh, I've heard about that one.
Yeah.
But watch Day Zero. Watch Day Zero. You'll realize Space Force.
I
Watch
wrote
Day
it down.
Zero.
I worked in the oil field though. I don't think I can watch Landman.
Yes,
Dude,
yes.
hey, actually, I'm not gonna lie to you. Billy Bob Thornton is hilarious in this one.
Yeah,
he's super funny in this one, man. It's like I was like, holy shit, we're like, where did he come from? Like, that's really good. That's super funny. Another one that I really like is Tulsa King.
Oh,
didn't get into Tulsa King that much, but
Really?
yeah. But now that we're on Taylor Sheridan shows, Lioness. If you've not watched that one, keep an eye on
another
it.
good one.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of good things about Bass too. The
Oh.
lawman Bass.
Bass Reeves.
Yeah,
Bass
Reeves.
Reeves.
Yep, heard a lot of good stuff about that one.
Yeah, how about that Taylor Sheridan? You think he's rich? Anyway, that's another. That's another question for another
I
day.
mean-
But
Oh,
anyway,
He's very rich.
He bought the 4 Sixes, so yeah, he's rich.
I mean,
Or he was anyway.
his whole studio is actually or his studio productions company does all of these shows, right? And then he owns a 4 Sixes ranch.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just put it out there.
Must
it's
be
like
tough.
King Ranch.
Must
Yeah,
be tough.
seriously, seriously.
tough.
Did you guys get into this other series called Reacher?
Yes. Well, I didn't get in
Oh,
the series. I
yeah.
got into the movie though.
Okay, so to be honest with you, I like the in the book. If you've ever read the book, the guy that actually is there, that is described in the book, is just like the character on the series itself. The dude was like 6'5" and just like massive, and the dude that's on the series, he's like literally that. I'm like, that it's just a weird comparison, like two different parallel universes here with the movie and then the series. I was like, man, like Tom Cruise is super like way out of his league on this one, so it's crazy. All right, Eric, you got another one?
What's your in Alabama we always say you're either Roll Tide or War Eagle. What's your college football team in the state of Texas?
I got to roll with my wife, A&M.
A&M, okay.
I ain't never been in no college, and I don't particularly follow any of them. If I'm closest to A&M, so it'd probably be that.
Gotcha.
My daughter's a graduate from Sam Houston, so
Hey, that'll work
too. So
I got two. I got one at the University of Texas, and actually one at the University of Texas Arlington. So I got both. So see, I got Texas in my blood, so I'm gonna say Texas. But I'm a Roll Tide, so I always say roll horns roll. So
High tide, high tide, high tide.
High tide.
I'm gonna have to go with my son. My stepson. He is actually going to UNT right now. He's about to graduate as a electrical engineer, and is hoping to move on to bigger and better things here after he's done with school. And as a parent, what can you say? Get out.
Denton? Is that in Denton, Texas?
That is in Denton. Denton, Texas. Yeah. Yep, post 29205. That's what they're at. So, okay. And I'm gonna leave this with this. Favorite book you've ever read?
Wizard's First Rule.
What is it?
The Last Stand of Fox Company.
Ooh, must be a Marine book.
It is.
Yeah. Eric.
The Korean
Alone
War.
at Dawn.
Korean War. Huh?
Alone at Dawn.
Alone at Dawn. Okay.
Yeah, just look it up. Yeah.
So I started reading a book that was actually gifted to me, and I mentioned this last week. by a Sergeant Paul Reed. He wrote this book because he's a Vietnam veteran, and he was in a province called Kon Tum, Vietnam, and unbeknownst to him, like he was fighting against, obviously, what they call him Charlie. So he got something, and he defeated the people there, and they ended up having to go back and pick up some of the belongings. He picked up a belonging, didn't know what it was. He saw this little booklet, or not a booklet, but a notebook, put it into a bag, and then send it back to the States. And for 20 years, he didn't know what it was, and didn't really think about it. And his incredible story. And I'm doing a segue because he's actually coming to the show here soon. Yeah,
I'd like to put a plug out there for a couple of books for you.
Okay.
Under the Cover of a Light.
Uh-huh.
It was written by a Colonel Curtis. He spent 7.5 years in Hanoi.
Mhm.
And it talks about how they learned to do Morse code, and
yeah,
were able
with
to
their
get
eyes.
signals back to the United States through letters and things like that. It's a great book to read. And then another one is Behind My Wings. Is written by a flight attendant that did the flights into Vietnam and back from Vietnam.
Yeah.
And even talks about a couple of flight attendants that were actually killed on the runway in Vietnam, shot by snipers.
Oh wow!
Hey, Eddie,
So it's,
Eddie, what was
both
that
good
first?
books.
What was that first book again?
Under the Cover of Light.
Under the
So I can
okay,
get it
thank you. Got you. Thank you.
So that's Sergeant Reed there. Okay, so I was saying that the book he placed, it was a diary from a North Korean soldier that he didn't know about. Well, his mom, after 20 plus years, he started writing the book because he didn't know what else to do. So he didn't know they had PTSD, first of all.
Mhm.
And so he started typing, and he had this book, and she noticed certain changes with them, so she gave him the book. And so what she did is she's like, what am I supposed to do with this? Like, I don't even know anything about this. It's like, we'll have it translate and see what happens. It says that it changed his life completely because it made him see the Vietnamese soldier as a person, not as a soldier. And the crazy thing about it is that 25 years after the war, he ended up going to meet the person that wrote that book. So they, the U.S. were able to get the relations with Vietnam and actually get him in there and go out there. And so he met them there. And great documentary too. It's on YouTube. I'll put the link up in a minute. And fast forward 5-6 years later, he actually comes down to Texas because Paul Reed is from McKinney down here. So he comes to Texas, and they gave him glasses. The VA gave him glasses. They donated their time, and he actually even had a heart condition that they were able to actually fix for him, and he ended up living. I am sad to say, though, I talked to Paul last week on Thursday, I believe, and he informed me that Mr. Nee passed away the week before at 96 years old. And he was heartbroken because he went to his house 10 times, in since 1990 something, and he was heartbroken. And great book, though. I mean, he says if you're gonna read anything on this book, read chapter 5. It'll change your life.
Hey, I seen one of the comments there. A Grateful American. They said, was it Texas?
Yep,
Who
a
wrote
Grateful
there?
American.
It's better than there. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, Grateful American. So yeah.
So yeah. So anyway, that's a good one, and I'll put the link up on what the documentary is on, and it's a great story. Like I said, it may be a good heartfelt story, but to think that he said that, man, this guy taught me so much in the years that we were friends. He's even more so than my parents sometimes. And he shared that with me, and for somebody like, especially for a Vietnam veteran, to actually be talking about certain things that they experienced in the war, it's big for them. He says, yeah, I learned how to love again, and I learned how to love myself and love the other person that was fighting against me. And man, it's again, great book, Quantum Diary. I'll have the link up when I post the show, this on the link. But yeah, Great book. Thank you, Paul, for the book. And he's got another one. He said he's going to bring up to me when he comes up with this show. So I'm still trying to get him in. But I do have a couple of announcements for you guys, and I hope you guys can bear with me here. I am in the midst of talks with a public relations organization right now that I'm trying to get a high profile name into the show, and I'm hoping that you guys can join in and come in. I'm trying to book General Flynn to come into the book, to the podcast, and hopefully we can ask him questions about leadership and what he's doing with with veterans and stuff like that. So we're definitely in the works for that. So that's I mentioned it because I want you guys to pray for me to actually do that. So it'll be great. We got some more comments here. Texas Tech, get your guns up. I guess they have guns.
Yes, that's their.
Is that their motto?
Yeah,
is that the 13th man? That's right.
No, that's A&M.
That's A&M. It's the Texas Tech Red Raiders. That's their saying. Things get you
okay.
Yeah. Hey, Caesar, be careful.
Yeah.
They might take your Texas card, bro. You don't know all this kind of stuff. What's going on?
Hey, man, I've only been in Texas for 4 years.
Oh, that's true too. Yeah.
So, and then at that, I'm like literally at the border of Texas, like of Oklahoma. So, neither here nor there. Yeah. I don't know. And I've had a lot of people say, well, this is Tejas, not Texas. So I was like, okay, it's the same thing. So, all right, let's continue with that. Hey, we're like at 2 hours. I can continue doing the show and doing all this stuff. So if people have questions, I mean, the phones are open. If you guys are open to staying longer, we definitely can stay longer. The last time I had the national candidates, they're like, let's go another hour. I was like, well, let's go. The next morning, I was like, why did I agree to that? Because I'm just like, I was so tired at work. But this is what I like about my volunteer time here is that we can ask questions if you guys are willing to do so. Like I said, I'm open for it. I don't have another show that's behind me, so I really don't care. We can keep doing this all day because it is important for us to get our point across, for you guys to get your point across, because this is an important decision for a lot of us, and we want to make sure that we give it to the right, that we appoint the right person into this job. So, what do you feel, Steven? Are you in, or are you down, or?
I'm good.
Eddie?
Fired up.
Let's go. Eric, I mean,
hey, whatever's needed.
Oh, absolutely. Man, well, you're asking some pretty damn good questions. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, I wanted to get the rapid fire questions out of the way because I knew if they wouldn't have agreed to it, they probably wouldn't have done it. So, you know what I'm saying? So that's what it is. But let's continue on. We'll open up the phone lines are open. 720-619-0627. That is the number to the studio. Please call in. And if you have any more questions, let's do it. So, all right, let's get back into some of the not so popular questions. Actually, you know what? Let's get away from that. Let me ask you this. So you guys have been going through several districts, right? What is the one thing that you have heard the most that people want, that they wanna hear, or they wanna see? Steven, let's start with you.
Yeah, the big thing that I've been hearing is the portal and access to that, and everybody hated the inaccuracies, the lack of the timely updates and all that kind of stuff with the stat sheets. But now that we've gotten rid of the stat sheets, we got the portal. Everybody wants a stat sheet back, and we can. But the cool thing about the portal is that we now have a database. It's a true database. It's not an Excel spreadsheet that's being generated out of Lotus Notes or something. It's a true database, and the technology exists where we can create a custom report out of that database that looks like the stat sheet that everybody's used to seeing. And that's one of the things that I'm hoping that we can get sooner rather than later. That's one of the feature requests that I've already sent in to support is to try to get a report that looks like the stat sheet. There's no way that I want to go back to the old stat sheets. No. But having that familiar format to be able to see the data that was out there is the biggest thing that I'm hearing as I've traveled the state. And again, I think it's an easy win. As you know, it's got to take some time to create the report, but I think it's an easy win.
Eddie, what about you?
Yeah, that's ditto. You know, that's pretty much what you hear the most is people aren't happy with the portal. You know, so, you know, this goes back 3 years. So we started it with Lynn's year. His orders were that when he took office, he gave me a year to get it ready. I want it marine simple. No offense, Steve, but he wanted it marine simple. You know, be able to come in, look at it. And we got some great ideas going forward. You know, I'm all about the live updates. I should only have one place I need to go to see what's going on in my post within this. Larry came in. He didn't like that. He did away with it, started from scratch. And, you know, hell or high water was going to be ending. It was going to be up and running by the end of the year. And I told everybody, be patient. It's going to take longer than that. And now we have what we have now. And I'll tell them the same thing. We're going to have to be patient. It's going to take time. I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated as the district chief of staff. You know, a prime example, and I've put in my work order, but I can't see anything to help my district commander. I can see my post because I'm a post officer, but I can't see anything at the district level. And it's frustrating because I can't help my commander. And I get it. I know where everybody's at, but we'll get there. It's just going to take a little time. And now that National's getting ready to switch over to MemStats, that's probably going to change everything again. So when National goes to MemStats, it's going to change how we do everything. I'm sorry, not MemStats, Malta. They're going to Malta. Sorry, I worded that wrong.
Oh, they're fine. I mean, you know.
I'm human. I make mistakes.
Well, you're transparent about that, so that's good. As you can see, we have a comment here. Is I'm a DBA, and I'll tell you to export a filter to an Excel spreadsheet, and it's not rocket science.
Right. And so the answer to that is that's pretty much what they were running. It was in such bad shape that when they put the techs looked at it, they went, nope, if we touch it, it'll break. Excel spreadsheet is not designed to handle the amount of information we were running through it.
Yeah, and that's and yeah, while it's not rocket science to export a database into an Excel spreadsheet, that's still not the right answer. We can create a report that looks like, you know, a report out of that database that has the same formatting and everything as that Excel spreadsheet without using Excel and without the limitations that we see in Excel. So.
And I'm going to say this. I know that our support at VFW
TexasVFW.org
is currently listening. So I just want to say, get you straight together.
Yeah, fix it so I have access.
Oh man, I kid with him all the time. He's part of my posts, and dude is super smart, which is weird for a Marine. I tell him all the time, and he's like, I'm like, between you and Steven, I'm like, you guys are like the complete opposite of XRB Marines. You guys both work in IT, and like that's a lot of like smartness for you. He's like, I know, I'm a rarity. He tells me that. So you know, have fun with this. It's good, but no, it's good. And I'm glad that it's going to the point where we're fixing those things, we're improving on those things, and it's important for everybody to be there, because I think by doing the spreadsheet or doing a portal, it's given us historically we're gonna be able to look back on certain things and be like the trends, right? Like, so this happened during this time, and we can, you know, see what's going to happen, and when we're able to predict a little bit better, and with that we can make better decisions as districts or posts, or even at state level. So I think it's a good thing that we're instilling that, we're doing all that stuff. So thank goodness for that, and I'm glad that we were able to actually see that come through, and again, some people just don't seem like technology is probably the way to go. For whatever reason, they want to keep doing it the same way, and they probably still have carbon copies somewhere.
Yeah,
Some of them do.
Yeah. But if you look at the portal, over the last 6 or 8 months or so, look at the advancements that have been made in the portal and the features that have been added and all the different things that are changing, improvements. Again, the department is listening. When you send in those feature enhancement requests or those problem tickets to support@texasvfw.org, they're actually getting those, they're reading them, they're working those. If their problems are working them, if their feature enhancement requests, they kind of aggregate those and they see what boils up to the top. What's the big ask? Right. And because if they can take that one that we got 200 of our posts that are asking for feature A, well, I can fix that one, and now I've got 200 posts happy instead of working on this one that's only got 20 people asking for it. So.
And we also have to remember that not everybody's going to be happy with some of the things. Like, right, you're not going to make everybody happy. You're always going to have two sides of the coin, right? But I think we need to remember that we need to evolve from certain things that we've always done this way, and we need to evolve and progress, because otherwise we're gonna get behind. And like our past commander said, Norman Macy, there's like, hey, if you treat it like a business, it has to be a business. Otherwise, you're gonna fail as a business. Yeah. And if you're not improving with, I'm sorry, the times that we're living in now, it's globalization. It's like it's a small world now. It literally is. And with the information that we have at our fingertips, it's so much easier to do it that way. And you have it, quick, fast, and in a hurry, and you're able to do a lot more things with it. Well, I mean, that's my take on it.
The Department of Texas is a multi-million-dollar international business because we now have a post in Panama. So we're now international. So we're international department, and it's a multi-million-dollar business, and we need to run it as such.
Right.
And so it's what we got to do.
Who was the commander that actually was under that when they came to going to Panama?
Larry Sanders.
Oh, okay.
It happened last year.
I thought it was okay. I wasn't sure.
No, it started talk started before then, but it happened last year.
All right. So let me ask you this, and this is probably going to go with a little bit different ways, or we have a post in the Department of Texas that actually is on an active duty post, right? I've had the commander here, Willie Keller. He's been on the show with me. And do you think that is important to have, that we have that accessibility in the department, that we are able to actually have a post in a active duty post? I mean, is it beneficial?
I'll do one better for you. So we've talked to the 3 Corps commander. He would like a VFW post on every one of his installations. And we talked to the ForceCom commander, who wants one on every post under his command, which is almost half the globe. So yes, it's extremely important. And think of it this way. You got a soldier. I'm going to talk Army speak here because that's what I understand. We have a soldier. I'm a young leader. I got a soldier, and he can't afford to pay his bills. He hadn't been doing his money right. So what do? We take him down to Army Emergency Relief. They give him a loan to pay off his bills, and now he's further in debt. Well, how about we go to the foundation and we give him a grant to help him get back up on his feet, or her back up on their feet, and resolve the problem. And we can do that as a VFW where the military can't. And so we need to be teaching all the branches of service to reach out to the different veteran service organizations on how we can help these young service members get back up on their feet. And we can come in and do that training at different levels, whether like suicide awareness. We can bring in someone that got out as lower enlisted to talk to lower enlisted. We can take somebody that's junior leadership to talk to junior leadership. We can put people in there, that were field grade officers and general officers to talk at that level. How many colonels and that come back from conflict or going through that survivor's conflict because they sent so many people, lost so many people, they can't deal with it. So for me to go talk to that colonel is not going to work. But if I put another colonel there talking with them, that they can relate. And so it's extremely important that we're able to do that. And another is even the VFW works as a family readiness support group on that post. So when one unit deploys, they don't have just that family from that unit there. They got the family of the entire post there to help them and the community, because that VFW is going to be that family support group.
As a VFW, we've got a recruiting issue. We still have an inordinate number of younger veterans that aren't joining our organization. We've got to fix that. And one way that we can, at least I think that we can make great strides towards fixing that is catching that service member as they're leaving the military. I've been saying for years, for anybody that would listen, that we as a veteran service organization, and obviously we're specific to the VFW right now, but I'm not necessarily limiting it to the VFW. We as veteran service organizations somehow need to get more involved in the TAP program. At least when I left the Marine Corps in 1996, Transition Assistance Program, TAP program, was, everybody had to go through that when you got out. They helped you with converting your military experience into civilian experience, writing a resume, making sure that we, as a Marine, I went through boot camp for 3 months to learn how to be a Marine, and I got about 2 weeks of going through, or a week or something like that, going through TAP to learn how to be a civilian again. We need to do better with that. And if we can get on base, now we're in their face. The VFW is there. These admin sections on that, whether it's an Army post or it's a Marine base or whatever it is, they don't have to go find a VFW to give a veterans a VSO class during the TAC program. They're right there.
Yeah. So let me ask you.
I would like to make one correction, though. We don't need to catch these service members as they're getting out. We need to catch them while they're still on active duty.
Right.
Let's catch them when they're getting off the plane, standing there handing them their membership. Mm-hmm. Your first year is paid for. By the way, come and see us on this night, and do the dinner for them. And we got to work the MAP programs. Adopt a unit. For God's sake, please adopt a unit.
Yeah, if you're able to do that, you definitely can adopt a unit. The only thing is that not everybody has that luxury of actually being able to do it at an active duty.
Reserve, National Guard work too.
Well, and how many service members active service members have you heard say, "Well, I can't join the VFW because I'm not a veteran"? Yes, you are. You are a veteran from the.
Since you graduated basic training.
Yep, you graduated basic training. You are a veteran, and if you've deployed, now you're a VFW eligible.
Eligible,
zone, you're a VFW eligible veteran.
Yep. Even in Korea, if you did 30 days in Korea, you're eligible to do that, right? As long as you have an LES, it says you had hostile pay, you're eligible as well. So let's change gears a little bit. I want to ask you guys on something that's important to me, right? Because I think as a veteran, obviously, having this platform allows me to reach a little bit more of an audience, or a little bit more people that are able to see my message. But I also believe that you have to be involved in your community, not just as a VFW post member, but in the community and other things that people will know. Like, what? I'm involved in this, and now let's bring a different aspect. What are you doing for veterans in that other organization you're in? So, as a commander, like as a junior vice or a commander, will you instill a plan, or do you have a plan to actually have more community engagement outside of the VFW to actually build that relationship, so we can actually have better services or better organizations or better whatever that benefit not just VFW veterans, but all veterans and their families and even their kids? Will you have some type of plan for that?
Getting into my secret weapons here.
Oh,
so
damn.
you ready?
Hold on. I had no idea, and I apologize in advance if
That's
this
all
is
right. So you ready?
Go ahead.
Community Relations Chairman. Okay. And
Yeah.
I ran it by Chief Al Lippart when he was here, because we have one in our post. He loved it. He actually said if I sent him an email, he'd tell the VFW store to print off a cover for me. But so
At
this
his
young
expense.
man,
At his expense.
he's a beast. I'll throw it out there. Jamie Bingford, he's a beast. He's actually just got voted in to be on the committee of the Chamber of Commerce, and through him we actually made Business of the Year last year with the Chamber of Commerce. 4 years ago they didn't even know our post existed. Wow. And we've been in Benbrook since 1970, since the 70s. And so to be active in the community with different events is extremely important, to have your members out there as part of these things, and while they're doing it, wearing their cover. We have people working in anything from food banks to Chamber of Commerce to the YMCA, but they're in there and they're wearing their cover while they're doing it. Even though they're on that committee, they're going, okay, this is also my community service for the VFW. So it's awesome.
Stephen,
Chamber
what about you?
Chamber of Commerce is huge with me. Anybody that's heard me talk more than 2 minutes has probably heard me talk about Chamber of Commerce. I'll reach back here and pat myself on the back a little bit. My post is a member of 2 chambers. I'm the representative that goes to those chamber meetings twice a month. So those 2 different chamber meetings. I do my VPRs there. So now not only am I doing a VPR, I'm doing it in front of people that need to hear it, not in front of my post members that already know all these stories. And so it's a great opportunity there. So I'm getting my community service done, I'm getting my VPR done. I've got Americanism because of all Americanism stuff. And most of the time there's one or more youth present. So I've got a youth program there too. Look at all those check boxes that we're ticking off on doing all that. But more importantly, I'm in the community. I'm wearing my cover, probably a VFW shirt as well. And my presence is being made there. And then, to shift some of the limelight a little bit off me, look at our current junior vice commander, Benny Guerrero. If you follow him on Facebook and look at what he does in the community, they've got a veterans committee at the city in Lubbock that he's part of. And he's doing a lot of things with promoting veterans and veteran services in the city with his work there. Shift down to the Austin area, and Mitch Fuller has been doing a lot of the same things. He's been board members on the chambers of commerce. He goes to the Chamber of Commerce meetings and that sort of thing as well. It's happening in areas in Texas. I want to promote that and get it happening everywhere in Texas.
And another one is get active in the schools. We've been invited to come down, and I think they gave us an hour where we're going to sit down and talk and answer questions for the kids. And you can get in and you can actually, work with your history teachers when they're covering certain events and go in and speak on it. I mean, we lived it. Yeah. What better part to come in and talk to them?
Yeah, isn't it amazing that I sit there and listen to that and how we correlate welcoming new. I don't call it recruitment. Recruiting members. I call it welcoming members. We've already been recruited, but anyway, that's another topic for another day. But isn't it amazing that the posts that you see that have the most community service, the most outreach, the membership is no problem. We've been able to welcome some new veterans, and I try to reach out, and I'm sure you guys will too. Ask them why they joined, and it goes back to my ask them why. You know what they told me? They said, I didn't realize the VFW did all that. That was one of and the second was because you asked, and no one has ever asked me before. So, I just think it's pretty interesting when you're out in public, how that all relates, and keep up that, and hopefully you can get your posts, all your posts involved with that outreach. I know it's tough in certain areas, but
I'll throw this out there. When I was a kid, playing Little League baseball, A team had VFW on the back of their shirt. A Pee Wee football team had VFW on the back of their shirt. We were sponsoring those youth events because the VFW members had kids doing that. And we need to be doing that again, because if you go where the kids are, to steal the field of dreams, you build it, they will come. So if we're there doing what the kids are doing, the parents are going to go, hey, they're sponsoring what my kid's doing. I need to go get active with that.
That's right.
They'll be part of it.
And for welcoming those new members, advertising is huge. I mean, and it's great to wear your VFW cover, but if you're wearing a ball cap that's got the cross of Malta on it, says war veteran, you're wearing your VFW shirt. Went to a store the other day, and on a Sunday, went into the store as I'm checking out, the cashier sees my hat, says, I need to join the VFW. So yes, you do. Went out to my truck and got a membership application, brought it back into him. 2 days later, I get a phone call from the post commander, who's right across, because it wasn't in my hometown. Get a call 2 days later from the post commander, said, I see your name on this membership application as a recruiter. Thanks for sending this way.
Hey, Stephen, you brought up a good point, and I'm gonna ask you both a question. I don't know. I don't want to take, Caesar's the boss, so I have to run it through him. But you brought up the marketing department, and I know the marketing department is really pretty new, right? For us. What is one thing that you think, or what is one thing that you would like to see the marketing department help with? And this is just a help. This is all this is, helping hands.
One thing that, and I forget now what year it was, it may have been Lynn's year, there was a push to get billboards put up.
That was Lynn's year.
That was Lynn's year. I've not heard anything about that since then. I honestly, I'm not sure I've even seen one. But billboards are great, but some more national I see the American Legion advertising, some of it on TV. They're all over Facebook. I get American Legion ads on my Facebook all the time.
DAV is big on that too.
DAV too, but I'm not seeing anything from the VFW.
Yeah.
Why aren't we getting out there and doing that?
I think they started doing, and actually, and it goes about farther in the national. Remember, they said, "Oh no, we don't sponsor events or whatever," and they ended up sponsoring I think a NASCAR series type of vehicle that had the VFW on it, and this was like, okay, that's a big push or a big pull or whatever, but you're right. You don't see those billboards like, hey, come, check out our local VFW. Now, what I ended up doing is I proposed to my membership and said, hey, and this is actually, I proposed it, like, I think when Lynn was actually pushing it, about getting an LED sign. They're like, hey, we can actually get some more people in high traffic areas and get them to do this. And you're able to sell these marketing, right, or advertisement spots, and they're able to run them that way, right? So we ended up, we voted into it, and we got the quote and all that stuff, and we were able to actually install it. It's going to be installed here in the next couple of weeks, and we're going to have a brand new sign outside, saying, hey, BFW open to the public. And because people, that's the biggest thing too, like people don't really realize it's open to the public. Yeah, it's open to the public, at least our post is. And we have tons of pool leagues and stuff like that we play out here.
My post has been in existence since 1940, and I still, on occasion anyway, run into people in town. I say, "Oh yeah, we're the VFW," and they say, "Oh, I didn't know we had a VFW in Tomball." What?
Sorry, I just got distracted by that comment. I'm glad you enjoyed the lengths of it, because
Well, I have to keep mine trimmed because it gets pretty ratty.
Yeah. My barber, my wife is my barber, so when I get a haircut, I usually get my beard trimmed too. So
thank you. That was great. Polar Nights.
That was good.
That's awesome. That was good. I'm sorry, Stephen. I got distracted. I apologize.
All right.
So you were saying though.
Yeah, and Eddie didn't get a chance to respond, so I just want to make sure Eddie gets a chance.
I don't remember what we're talking about now. I was too busy laughing.
The marketing department.
So the marketing department. So
yeah.
there's a bang for the buck, So if we're gonna spend $1 million on advertising for the VFW, what's our return on it? So when we do advertise, we got to do it right. and for the right price. And so, when Benny Grell ran for junior vice, one of his things was he had $3 million in free advertisement set up for us. I don't know why we have to wait for him to be commander, but that's another story. But it's that's great if we have it. But if we're going to pay for it, if we're going to pay for advertisement, what's our bang for a buck? So what happened with with billboards, I can answer that, is I forgot, I don't know, $10,000, $20,000 is what we paid with an agreement with that company. If they had a sign that didn't have anything, they would put it up for free of charge. And I think that all died at the end of Lynn's year. Because here again, it's part of your budget, and if we didn't get bang for buck, then I'm not going to spend that $10,000 or $20,000 on that. Yep,
So
pendulum swing. Mm-hmm. So I think from the marketing team, the best that we could get from them is the material we need to get in front of corporate sponsors, that we can go to them and get sponsorships at the post and district level to help the post. Things that we can do to, because we have the money, because let's admit it, a lot of our posts are in some pretty bad shape. You walk into them, you're walking back in time. It's time capsule. And as these younger members come in, they're going to walk in and go, oh my God, my grandfather would be in here. And they turn around, they walk right back out. So let's update our, get that marketing out there so we can get the money to update our post, help our post be successful, do the training. I mean, it all ties back in together again. I talked to Dan West about this years ago about advertising. He goes, so we're going to spend all that money on advertising to have a member walk into a post to get the VFW stare and turn around and walk back out the door. If we can't keep them, or they're going to walk in the front door and walk out the back door. So until we fix that issue, why are we going to spend all of that money on advertisement when we have other issues we need to fix before we spend the money on that? And to a point, I agree with it, but we got to get the new members in there to help us fix that too, to help bring that about. So it's catch-22.
That kind of comes back to some of the, wearing your cover, wearing a VFW hat, that sort of thing. But it's, and you really hit the nail on the head with that VFW stare, and we've got to be more welcoming in our posts and in the community, because if we're out if we're wandering around Walmart wearing a Desert Storm cover and grumbling and growling at everybody, looking like they're ready to bite their head off or something, why would they even want to join something like this?
Exactly.
Yeah,
yep. Sean yells at me all the time, smile, smile, smile.
Yeah, and I'm not a big one for smiling, but
I'm not either.
I agree. But
great comments, guys.
But you don't have to have a smile on your face all the time either, though. So.
Yeah, I'm not sure what this is. You have it said in law that not providing housing for vets is seen as a criminal offense, like here. And by here, he's in Norway. So if you had the opportunity to actually change that, right? Because okay, let's just talk about what we've been seeing right now in the news, and you've seen all this mispenditures and just outrageous things that have been going on with with Doge and all that stuff, and the whole premise of MAGA, Make America Great Again, is to actually invest in ourselves, right? At least is what I'm taking. Make America Great by helping your veterans that are homeless, helping the people that, and I'm not trying to get progressive on my soapbox or anything like that, but limit those people that actually have been in the system as far as, getting TANF, temporary assistance to needy families. And the maximum years they're supposed to have is 5 years, but people take advantage of it and are there longer and are taking all these things, right? Clean up ourselves. Let's police ourselves before we police everybody else, giving millions of dollars for this or that. And he's right. Like, why can't we invest? Like right now in California, and I mention California a lot because I grew up there, and LA, the streets of LA, especially like around just outside downtown, it's literally just a tent city. Same thing in San Francisco, tent city. all these other things. Like, why can't we spend the money for ourselves here? Why do we have to send, $850 million for, transgender cats?
Well, so to answer, pick on California for just a minute, we shoot ourselves in the foot. So California did a great thing. They basically had an apartment complex that was for homeless veterans. They kicked the veterans out for our illegals that moved in.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on, they broke the law, and we're going to give them a place to live. And those that fought for our country are now back out on the street.
Yep.
I mean, let's talk about the elephant in the room. We're never going to completely fix homelessness, because there's people that just want to live on the street. They don't want to. So, but for those that do, yes, we should be doing that, and that's something that's already been addressed. Is that's money we could be using to help our own, and that's what we need to do.
Right, Stephen, what are your thoughts about that?
So, obviously, I wholeheartedly agree that we should be helping all of our veterans in whatever, but that becomes more of a it's more of a social issue, I think, that's outside the purview of the VFW. Other than advocating for to make sure that all of this thing happens, all of our VFW Action Corps, that kind of stuff. So action alerts. If we can initiate and support legislation towards these ends, and whether it's properly allocating those funds that are being uncovered, or it's introducing legislation to require providing housing, or whatever that legislation is, I think that's our role in the VFW.
Absolutely.
Hear me out on this. And I'm not saying that we should, get the money, right? The money is the thing. What we need to do as an organization is hold our elected leaders accountable, not just in our organization, but within our government, because that money that they are spending frivolously should be able to go to any, like you said, any other social program, like Eddie brought up, the apartment there, and there's other things. Like, there are many other things that we could be doing and paying for, not just for veterans, but for all our homeless that are out there. Yes, it is a social thing, but also we as an organization have 1.4 million members that we can go to Congress and be like, you know what, you're doing this wrong, or we believe that this is what you should be spending the money on. We need to have there was no oversight for a long time, and there was nothing else, right? How can we, again, this is just going back to the whole grassroots part, being involved. And I harp on this all the time, being involved not only within the organization, being involved in the community, being able to actually go into your representative and say, you know what, I don't think you're representing me the right way, or you doing this incorrectly, because why is it that every year you get a raise, right, from $175,000 to $200,000, $25,000 raise all of a sudden for you being in session for what, 6 months, 4 months, 6 months, whatever it is, and yet here it is a service member who just got out of the military and doesn't even have, or is not eligible to get a retirement. And again, I go back to the whole members of Congress being able to actually, Congress to actually have, after a 2-year term, to get lifetime benefits. I can't even get that after 2 years out of the military. That's BS.
Well, and if we go back to the comment that was made much earlier, I think Norm Macy made it about we need to run our VFWs as a business. Maybe we need to start looking at running our government as a business. If we're however many trillions of dollars in debt, why are we still providing aid to all these other fringe countries and fringe causes, instead of focusing on repaying our, if we can reduce our deficit, remove the deficit, then we can more easily justify the funding to do the things that we're talking about. So
right. And I know we kind of got off topic a little bit, but I'm sorry. Like I'm passionate about it because you have to be involved. There's just no way you just expect somebody to, like, oh, they'll figure it out. Like, no, you need to be involved in the process in order for these things to happen. Because if you're not,
and with some of that's educating our membership, and I heard a comment at a district meeting. I don't remember if it was the last one I was in or the one before, and someone mentioned something about, the commander mentioned something about being on Capitol Hill. He goes, "Oh, we're getting in politics. That's politics. We don't need to do that." Well, I disagree. Now, we don't support a particular candidate, but we need to be active when it comes to legislation, and we need to be there talking to our congressmen and our representatives at the state and, city, county, state, and national levels to make sure they know, hey, we're here, we're watching you. And oh, by the way, the VFW has a lot of pull. Even if we reach out and touch the veterans that aren't even members and go, hey, they're not, they put, and my comment is this, they put us in harm's way. They're now responsible for taking care of us.
Yeah.
And I had a politician tell me once, well, you volunteered to do that. Well, I did, but you volunteered to be a politician. And I say, you don't get paid.
Yeah.
How do you like that? Or better yet, instead of having your private health care, why don't you get on TRICARE like the rest of us and deal with the program, and have to fight the system.
Why do you have to go to a private hospital to do that? Walter Reed.
Yeah. Go to TRICARE. Get in TRICARE.
Or actually, better yet, put them in the VA system.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Why not?
Yep.
So anyway, sorry, we got on a tangent on that one, and that was my political rant. That was my moment of weakness, and this is what that was a segment of
Whiskey Tango Foxtrot of the Week, sponsored by James Oreskog, giving veterans a voice.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
I know it was all of order, and I was out of order, and Robert's rules state that I need to be in order.
Yeah.
My apologies, gentlemen. Anyway,
he must be talking about you, Eric.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I mean, he's interrupting me the entire time I've been here. You know what I mean? Like, he's just judging me with those little beady eyes that he's got over there. He's just like,
hey,
man.
I'm just listening. Just listening.
he's taking notes, going back, be like, well, Commander Lippert, this is what happened in Texas, and this is what they're gonna do. They're coming for your job.
Hey, I just love that everybody's fired up. You know what I mean? That's what it's about. That's what it's about. But I was sitting there thinking too, legislative. Lately I've been doing a lot of legislative work, and it's always good too is that when the VFW is there to let them know when they do something right as well.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I think the narrative is always, unfortunately, there's probably more of the, hey, I disagree with what you're thinking there, but it's good that as a VFW we're able to tell them, hey, thank you. Mm-hmm. Here's my coin or whatever you're doing right. So, I think that's always a good thing. Yeah,
absolutely.
But it's tough. It's tough because sometimes, like I said, you're going to make a decision and as long as your integrity and what do they say, you can sleep good at night because you did it for the betterment of the organization, not the betterment of an individual, but a betterment of the organization.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's tough. And so yeah.
If you can look in the mirror and say, I did the best I could do with the information I had at the time, and
that's
that's
right.
key right there.
That's right.
Decisions are made, and I've been challenged on a few, and I said it was based on the information I had at that time.
That's
if
right.
I had all this information now, that would have changed my decision.
Yeah.
But I had to go with what I had at the time.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
Okay. So
hindsight, it's 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true. Isn't that so true?
Yeah. And I think we've forgotten a lot of, how everything worked prior to 2020. You know what I mean? Like we were just always so involved in a lot of different things. And since 2020, I don't know if, and this is just my observation, I'm not saying that this is the truth, but it seems like a lot of people take that, like, use that excuse and say, oh, no, the COVID thing, I don't want to be around or don't want to do the social thing. I mean, COVID has been around for a long time. It's been in the medical books forever, and it just all of a sudden just became a thing.
Yeah, but the COVID pandemic in 2020, what happened there that's most egregious, I think, to our organization is it changed people's acceptance of social norms.
Yes, that's what I was getting at. Yeah,
everybody got used to being able to do Zoom calls and Zoom meetings. You stopped going into the office. You stopped going. The grocery store started doing home deliveries. You can do your grocery shopping through your phone app. You can go to the grocery store. People stopped going places. Your social norms were no longer normal, and again, that's helped. That's killed. Not killed, but it's definitely hurt our recruiting efforts within the VFW because people just don't go out anymore, not like they did before 2020.
So right now we're having a hard time with, and correct me if I'm wrong, but right now we're having a hard time recruiting my generation, right? Because right now a lot of my generation or we have young families, right? And we have young kids and everything is like, so we can't really, I don't want to say like we can't really volunteer 100% of our time like some of our other members do. But it's hard for someone like me, like I'm involved in, at work. I have a full-time job. I do this other thing. And this is right now, my generation is the one that we're having a hard time recruiting. And it's not that we don't exist, because we do. I mean, we definitely see it within our ranks right now. But there's a hell of a lot more of, my generation than that are able, or actually, excuse me, eligible to come. How can you, in these next 4 years, how can you change that to make sure that an eligible bachelor like me is able to come and join the VFW?
It's very simple.
I can't change it. Our membership can. We can make our posts more welcoming to those younger members. We can make them more family friendly. We can get the families involved. We can get make it more inclusive of the wives or husbands, the children, everybody there. And one thing too that I know, we've got districts that are holding their district meetings on Sundays. There are still some families that go to do church on Sundays. That's going to interfere with them. But we've got other families that, if we're holding our district meetings on Saturdays, well, that Saturdays is when all the ball games are or the camping trips or whatever they're doing with their kids, and they're missing out on that. We need to get a little more creative and maybe look at different options for when we're holding our meetings or when we're having our events, and how can we better accommodate our members and still accomplish our goal as well. There's, honestly, is there really anything going on in a district meeting that couldn't be done in a couple hours on a Thursday night? Frankly, I'm not proposing. I don't want to go to a district meeting on a Thursday night, but you know what? If that's what I need to do to accommodate the younger veterans and get them more involved, I can make that sacrifice. But
and it's only every 3 months, 3-4 months. You know what I mean? So it's quarterly.
Yeah, it's we got some pretty large districts in Texas, and for them to be able to travel those distances, because some of them have to go get a hotel to come to the district meeting. I mean, they're traveling that far, so it's like I said, what works in one district's not going to work in another, but it all ties into what we were talking about earlier. And it's updating our post, having family-oriented events, sponsoring those Little League events out there, sponsoring a Boy Scout and Girl Scouts, a venture crew, all those things where you're having activities at your post or sponsoring activities at your post that bring those kids in, because if you bring the kids, the parents are going to come with them.
Right.
And it gets back to that. And I said, I pulled off early on. I talked to some Korean War veterans that were still around, and like, when you were a young member, what were you doing in your post? Right? And wrote them down. You know, we were having family night. We were, sponsoring football. We were, and those things, because he goes, we had kids. And as time went on, that all aged out, and there was not a lot of new members coming in.
Right.
Then we went into this 20 plus year war, and now we have all these young members coming in again. But they forgot what they did back in the day, and we need to bring what they did back in the day back.
Yeah, I agree. I love hearing that. Yeah, more family friendly. I know that we're and trust me, I don't live in Texas, so I don't know. So please don't. This is lack of knowledge of what I know of Texas. I can tell you what's happening in Alabama, and when we go to our conferences now, I think we added up like 61% are younger than me that are showing up at our conference. We made a huge pivot. We only have and I enjoy a cold beverage with the best of them, trust me. But
I know that.
we only have a handful of canteens left in the state of Alabama. The rest 60 posts are all family oriented, fair gun show type of posts. They're not canteens anymore. The younger veteran right now, what we realized was social media is so powerful right now. And these younger veterans and I think you said it well, Stephen, after COVID, everybody relies on social media or that kind of an outlet for their news and what we did was we did a strategic, we had a vision, and we said, okay, we're going to put all the positivity out there. And like I said, these veterans are joining because they didn't know we did all this stuff. So what we started doing is we published every good news story we could think about legislation wise. We also community service wise. That's what the younger veterans want to see. They don't want to see the beer prices are lower to $2 tonight. They do not want to see that. They all have children. Their way of socialization is different. Well, you said it, Stephen. You said it best. Both of you. Eddie did too. But I think we made that big pivot, and I love hearing that because I think when you involve a family, you involve a family. It increases your family, and that's what the younger veteran wants. So I don't want to speak out of turn and think, oh, well, I don't know what Texas is doing. You guys might do that already with social media. I know you got, like I said, you got great leaders over there, but yeah.
I'll throw a pitch out there to District 20 and to the Denton Post. So I don't know the post number off the top of my head in San Antonio, but they built a game room, and Denton just built their game room. And this is not just an ordinary game room. This is that competition. They come in and do the international gaming and all that, where they can come in and do that. And hopefully it's going to be a big fundraiser for Denton. I'm waiting to see exactly what they do, because I'm definitely going to pitch it to my post.
Well, I think
but they're going to use that. But they're also going to use that to do time with their mental health meetings for searching for jobs. So it's not just going to be games, but that's what it's really built for. And it's a great program because that's what the younger generation's into.
That's right. And I like that. I like Eddie, you sharing it, because this is something that Alabama needs to hear, Mississippi needs to hear, all the states in between need to hear, and how can we get better as a whole? I want to say Southern Conference, but nationally, how can we get better hearing these good news stories? Because I'll be honest with you, whether it's veterans or we don't like to boast about what we're doing. Maybe we're a prideful bunch that way, but man, if it can help anybody, jobs, heck, it might even help being able to use a computer to help someone file a claim or a power of attorney or whatever it is.
Absolutely.
So this is the kind of stories we need to get out there. Yeah.
Well, and having that infrastructure costs money, but then there's been conversation about grant writing and stuff, and those are definitely some some grounds that we should anyway be prime candidates for a grant. Because again, whether it's veteran gaming, and again, if you advertise a veteran, if it's targeted at veteran gaming, doesn't mean that it can't have family gaming as well, as long as we're still doing veteran gaming. And it doesn't mean that during the day when we're not gaming on it, doesn't mean that we can't use it for resume writing services, or even if we've got older members or they don't even have to be an older member that doesn't have access to a computer. They can even check their email, that kind of stuff, so yeah.
Well, we even went so far to set up an old Wii in the hall, and we had kids as young as 5 or 6 and Korean War veterans up there bowling against each other on a Wii.
That's great.
So it all works. But you're doing those things, and they were like, "Oh, this isn't going to work," and they were in there hooping and hollering louder than anybody else. So they're like, "Man, I hadn't been able to bowl." Well, you can now. Here, let me show you.
But I'm going to throw this out at you because I heard it earlier today. The same individuals that say they can't use a computer have the best smartphone available, and they're the ones that are on Facebook. But they're the ones telling you they can't file an audit report using a computer.
Oh, I know.
So be cautious when you take command. Either one of you, it's gonna happen. But we made a push to say we're going all electronic. Jump on board. Jump on board. It's the only way I'm going to accept it. So they had to learn, because you know what? They're the first ones that texted me to tell me they disagreed with that and they want paper version. I'm like, you just texted me on your iPhone 20 or whatever it is right now.
That I don't even know how to you exactly.
Yeah. So anyway, off topic.
No,
that's my WTF.
That is very, very valid. So
yeah.
And I'm on board with you. I think every fax machine we have should be thrown in the trash. I hate them.
Well, I love my pager. I still love my pager.
I didn't know these things were still. You still have a bag phone, don't you, Eric?
Yeah. A big one like that. I mean, this monster.
So, this code still checks out, sir. It says, you know what it says when you turn it around. You know what it says. Anyway, gentlemen, we've come to the time of the show where we're about 3 hours in, and I could definitely go on and on, but this guy has to get up at 3 a.m. to go to work, because this guy has to pay. He has to pay his bills. So, but I really do want to thank you both of you for enlightening us with your comments and your willingness to answer the questions that we had, because it's important. This is a four-way fight, and each one of you has a 25% chance of right now making it to the next round, or actually being the next commander. Sorry, the next junior vice commander, which is then in turn turn into the commander. But I want to wish both of you guys a good luck for the rest of the 3 months that we have left, 3 or 4 months that we have left in this campaign. I know it's probably been rigorous, and you guys are already to the point where like, I just want to get done and get over with. But I think it's so important to understand that your ideas and your views that are coming in, a lot of people will agree with you, and a lot of people will disagree with you, and they will challenge you. And if you want transparency, you're gonna have to really
put the Teflon on.
Exactly. Not take it personal, because I tell Eddie off every day, and he comes back with, "I'm here to help," or gives you the thumbs up or whatever. All joking aside, you have to have very thick skin in order for you to do this type of job. But I really do wish you guys the best. I hope I hope every candidate, and I gave everybody the same courtesy, and I extended the courtesy to the other 2 candidates, and unfortunately one of them had a death within the family, so wasn't able to come, and the other one wasn't able to join us tonight either. So but I gave everybody the same fair chance. If they didn't want to take advantage of it, that's on them. I don't want to say that hey, I didn't invite anybody. That's not what the show's about, because this show's about highlighting veterans and highlighting what they're doing, and making sure that we have it's a community type of a show, and we can get all this stuff done. So
thanks for having us. Thanks for having us on. Really appreciate it. Doing good work. Keep it up.
Thank you.
Yeah, good luck to both of y'all.
Yeah,
thanks, sir.
Before we leave,
platform to do it. So
before we leave, I'm going to give you each 30 seconds to say your final statement. So we're going to start with you, Steven, since you were the one that were cut off by me. So go ahead, Steven.
you know, I want to see this organization succeed. That's the big thing. I want to see the organization succeed. I'm here to help where and how I can. I've got my vision of what I'm wanting to see in the future of the VFW, but ultimately it comes down to you, the member, on what you want to see out of this organization next year, the year after, and 10 years from now.
Eddie, 30 seconds.
I love this organization. I'm here, win, lose, or draw, but I really want to do everything I can that's feasibly possible to make every post successful. This is the best veteran service organization, and I want to continue to see it grow.
Well, thank you so much for both being volunteers, and I can honestly say that both of these guys have been mentors to me ever since I met both of them. I've got nothing but bad words to say about both of them because I can't stand either one. I just can't. One's a Marine, the other one is just I don't know. I don't even know.
Yeah, I know. Can't take me anywhere.
I can't. That's why I don't ever call you.
I know.
But all joking aside, you guys have been mentors to me, and I really appreciate the fact that you taking someone that has literally been in the organization for less than 3 years and been able to teach me certain things about the organization itself and how to carry yourself in those tough situations, because you both have seen triumphs, and you've also seen loss. So thank you for that, and thank you for doing that. So with that said, next week I will be at my new home at Split Window Studios in Denison, Texas, at Podcast on Main. I will be there. I will have a very, very special guest, a musical guest, and Eric has already been able to sample the song. The song, and this dude, his name is Tom Cass. He's big time. All right, he's coming up, and he's got some good tunes, and he's gonna be on the show next week. I'm also gonna have, and I was called. I was called. What was it? Last Tuesday, Saturday, no, Sunday, Saturday, by Scott Gedling and also Lynn Toomer. They were both in Oklahoma at their midwinter stay convention, and they're like, hey, so we're going to be in DC next week, and we want to get on the show because there is a lot of good stuff going on. So Eric, I expect you to be in that same thing. So we're going to have that as well on the same show. So it's going to be, I'm probably going to give you guys about 30, 45 minutes in to get what you need to say on that, because I honestly, Tom is actually driving all the way from Shreveport, Louisiana. So he's going to come spend the night and actually kind of be live on the show. He's going to play some of the songs that he has, and I'm going to have a live audience, which is really weird for me because I'm like, I'm over here, in my virtual studio. Now I'm going to have an actual live audience in the studio, and it's going to be awesome. So maybe next time that I do the show and I do another forum, maybe the you guys might want to come up here and actually do it live, and it'll be a little bit different of a atmosphere, I think, to be honest with you, because then be like, hey, duke it out, let's go, wall-to-wall counseling, so let's see who the winner is. They're bum fight, let's go.
I don't know, Steve's pretty big. I have to kick him in the knee and run.
Hey, the biggest guys are the ones that fall the easiest. All right, that's what I'm saying.
And Caesar, since you're going live with a live audience, just make sure you don't wear pajama bottoms, okay, like you're doing now, so no one can see.
First of all, sir, I am wearing jeans, and I am wearing jeans, and I can show you.
No, I don't want to see it. I don't want to.
Yeah, I don't want to see that either.
I don't want to see it. Yeah.
Yeah, you just don't want. You just don't want to check me out. It's fine. It's fine. It's all good.
Hey, so before I let you go, reach out to me, remind me, and I'll send you the names of two veterans that got a band going now, and they both won the national award through the VA for original song. Both of them.
Sweet.
And one's a lifetime member of my post, and the other is not eligible, but she is a veteran.
Well, there you go. This is what we're here for. We're here to highlight veterans. This is what the show is about. And some big news are coming up for the Battle Rhythm podcast. I am going to be. Well, I'll just say it now. Well, I don't care. Probably nobody's watching anyway. The Battle Rhythm podcast has been picked up by a different station called The Voice of the People, USA TV, USA Radio and TV Network. We are going to be broadcasting in over 190 countries with 65 million listeners. So I'm really excited about that. People, their network actually reached out to me, and they liked what I was doing with the content, and which is weird because I really don't do anything other than talk. I just have the gift of gab. But I'm excited, and I start streaming with them next week. That is the reason why the Battle Rhythm podcast is moving to a studio, because it's gonna grow, and it's just gonna be outstanding. I've loved my time here with Military Broadcast Radio, and I appreciate everything they've done for me, and I'm just humbled at the fact that somebody else was listening to my show and they say, hey, I think you have potential to do something. And this is big for not only for the show, but also big for our organization, because I've always been a big advocate at the fact that I am a member of the VFW, but I'm also a big advocate of community service, and I always preach that. Always preach that, and I thank you. Thank you, Marcy. I appreciate your thoughts and your well wishes here. It's I couldn't have done it without it, and I think the VFW gave me that platform where actually I'm able to talk to about certain things and certain topics that maybe a lot of people don't know, and I am very veteran centric as far as my show is, but I'm not going to shy away from different things, and I'm just very excited at the fact that, like I said, they picked me up, and I didn't even realize that they were going to do that.
Congratulations!
Thank you. And it's going to take us to new heights as far as the VFW is concerned, because we're going to be able to get this organization, heard around the world, and know exactly we're not just for American veterans, but we're for veterans, all over the world. And because a lot of people actually were have fought with us, and have died with us, and that's what we're here for. We're an organization of foreign wars, and we fought in the world. And with that, gentlemen, thank you so much. I appreciate you, each one of you. Not so much you, Eric. You're out of this. You're Air Force. But you guys are awesome. Thank you for spending the evening with me. It is 11:10, and you guys are still awake, and I'm pretty sure you're going to get beat. So if you're in distress, please give me the sign. You guys are good. So I will see you guys next week at the same time at 8:00 Central. And I will be coming to you live from Denison, Texas, with Tom Cass, and also with a eclectic people, Scott Gidling and Lynn Toomer, Eric Dudash, and probably Willie Keller is probably going to be there too. And we're going to be talking about some of the legislative stuff that's coming up. So
book 4 hours.
DC. So
book 4 hours next week.
I don't know if I'm going to have that kind of a time, man. I'm going to have to go to work the next day. Remember, you know what I mean? So
suck it up, Buttercup.
You know what? I don't like you. All right, you guys be safe. Thank you guys so much for being with us. You're listening to the Battle Rhythm podcast here on Military Broadcast Radio, and once again, thank you to Military Broadcast Radio for giving me my start. And I will see you guys when I see you. Take care. Be good to one another.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, we want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember, we're here to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right. We're here to give our veterans a voice. So don't forget to catch the podcast and stay connected with us. Giving our veterans a voice.